Good morning, I'm Eric Reeser. It's day one of spring practice for Ohio State football. The Buckeyes will hold 14 more over the next 6 weeks. That'll culminate in the annual spring game at Ohio Stadium Saturday, April 18th. Ohio State's head coach Ryan Day is expected to meet with the media following Tuesday's practice. We'll carry his comments live on the Fan when he takes the podium. In college hoops, the Big Ten tournament begins today in Chicago. Ohio State's got a double bye into Thursday's third round. They'll play the winner of tonight's game between Iowa and Oregon or Maryland. The Ducks battle the Terrapins at the United Center tonight around 5 o'clock. And on the ice yesterday at Nationwide, the Blue Jackets fell to the LA Kings 5-4 in overtime. Defenseman Eric Goodbranson suffered a lower body injury in the loss. He will not be with the team tonight as the Jackets skate in Tampa against the Lightning. This update is sponsored by Uber Eats. Uber Eats has a great deal waiting for you at Scramblers from now until March 31st to get a buy one, get one free deal on the Manhandler skillet on the app. Terms apply.
Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
I'm talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy Austin Ward. My good buddy Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lavery's joining us.
Hi, everybody. Tom Tiberi here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah,
and then
it's a rundown.
And then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only two guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
All right, let's do it live on a Tuesday edition of the program. Bo and the boys with you for the next 10 o'clock, we hit you with the real truth. Uncle Dom, who, by the way, is already sending cell phone videos on social because he's at the first day of Buckeye practice. He's so jacked up, he can't wait. He will join us at 10:30. Then at 11 o'clock, Ryan Day's first presser of spring football. We will take it for you live, and he's going to have some name tags, I think, which leads us into where we're going to start this thing and kick it all off, and that is with spring football. We're here, kids. Spring football is here. Spring football, and we all know this, there are certain things that we look at on the schedule and from the time of year that just hit a little bit different. And spring football, for me, culminates with the official start of spring in Central Ohio, and that is the spring game. That's when it does. It's something we've done every year. It's like the pancake breakfast. We do it once a month, and you got to show up, Ron Burgundy. That's the whole idea. Same thing with spring football. This is what we do. It gives us our little aperitif. We get the spring game at the end. Fingers crossed, the weather's nice, and away you go with that. Changes are coming, though. I think we all know that spring football, as it is currently consumed, is going to change dramatically over the next 3 to 5 years. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense the way that it's currently done. This is going to move into May. It's going to move into early June. My hunch is that it will mirror the NFL calendar in the sense that it will be like minicamp. It'll be a couple of weeks in May or June, and you'll get the work done then. And quite honestly, it should. Spring football doesn't make a whole lot of sense, guys. It really doesn't. To do spring football in the middle of the semester, to do so in the middle of spring break, to have it saddle 2 weeks before spring break and then a couple of weeks after spring break, there is no consistency to it. Your roster isn't even entirely set by the time you get to spring football, which brings us to the other thing that this would fix in regard to the calendar. If you move spring football to May and June, there would not be this incredible pressure to get kids on campus in January the way that there currently is. And so this is going to change. It's going to change in a big way. It's probably going to change in the next 3 to 5 years. But while it's here, I appreciate it. I like the way it hits on the calendar. We've had some really nice weather here the last couple of days. You hope that what spring football coinciding with that does is give you a little breath that you're almost out of it. Now, I'm sure we're going to have some bad stuff in the next couple of weeks. That's the way that it goes around here. But there is something about spring football hitting that gets you a little springboard into the actual season of spring. Ryan Day needs to do some work this spring because he's got a lot of new faces, upwards of 40 new players on this roster. This season, this spring football this year, it's not going to be about fine-tuning. It'll be about position battles. Guys, this is going to be foundational work. They have to teach a bunch of kids. We've never seen this here. I mean, NIL and free transfer has been around for a while, and obviously we've benefited from it about as big as you can in terms of guys who have come in here on short notice, who were not signed initially in recruiting, but who have come in and made immediate impacts. But we've never had this amount of new faces, never this big. This is Ohio State's kind of first foray into the modern college football in the sense of maybe a third of your roster is going to be people that you don't really know and have been on campus for a month and a half, and you're going to have to get to know them. You're going to have to get them indoctrinated into what it is to be a Buckeye. We can talk about the brotherhood and all of those things, but until it is taught, it is learned, and it becomes who you are, it's just words. That's the job this spring. There's going to be name tags, I would assume. You know, in little kids, a lot of times they'll put like the name of the kid on tape on their helmet. You're going to have to do stuff like that because there's no way you're going to know all of these folks. And so you've got massive work that has to be done on the defensive side of the ball. You have 3 top 10 picks who have to be replaced that you got to get an answer for. And not only were they incredible players and talents, which is obvious based on where they're going to go in the draft here in a month, but beyond that, they were incredible leaders. They were coaches on the field. All 3 of those guys, certainly Sonny and Caleb, absolutely. These were guys who were coaches on the field as well. You've got to find answers to that. Offensively, you could kind of plug and play this thing a little bit. It's a lot of familiar faces that we've seen a bunch. The one thing offensively that's got to get fine-tuned is obviously there's a new coordinator. So what does that look like? So there's about 1 million questions that come out of this thing. Understanding that it's going to change, but also appreciative of where we are. And I do think that as spring goes, in a non-quarterback competition spring, which those hit always a little bit different, but in a non-quarterback competition spring, this one is going to hit a little bit different. And there's real work that has to be done. And it all started, I don't know, about 37 minutes ago, fellas.
Yeah, it's the annual rite of passage in spring in Central Ohio. Is spring football leading up to the annual spring game. It was always something that everybody looked forward to because it's football and it's Ohio, and those things just go together. I'm thrilled that last year, where there was talk of a spring fling or whatever the hell they wanted to brand it, they just said, no, we're going to actually do a spring game. And now they're keeping with that theme, and I think most of the blue bloods in college football are keeping with the annual spring game. But to your point about it, maybe not being in April moving forward, I think most people are going to be okay with. It'll take maybe a year to get over. I am very interested now with Ohio State, I think, to your point, facing the first true portal attrition roster changeover, how it all goes. And I think over the next 6 weeks, you get kind of the ability to do that without a lot of urgency. Mm-hmm. Once I think you start getting into fall, then the urgency, then it comes. Now it's, especially before spring break, you're just kind of dipping your toes into the water. Now you're working your asses off, but you're just, to your point of getting to know everybody. And Arthur Smith's coming in and getting to know everybody, getting to know where his office is, not trying to get lost into what can be a labyrinthian Woody Hayes Athletic Center. And I think for all of that, it gets you all ready for what's to come in the summer. And I'm looking forward to it, because you always are, because it's Ohio State football. And welcome to spring, everybody.
Reason they're using big words. I'm just a Grove City educated boy here. Like, I don't big words like that.
Well, it hit for me because I think you could parachute me into the middle of that place, spin me around, and say, find your way out. And I don't know if I could. And I've been in there a lot, and I don't know if I could.
Bo, you mentioned all of the roster turnover. Yeah. And then since I was a little kid, I have been like a roster sycophant in numbers that guys wore. So even some of the guys we know we're going to have to get used to again because they're changing numbers. Like Kenyatta Jackson, he's going to be number 2 this year. He's not number 97. Riley Pettijohn, he's going to be number 5. He's not number 20. Jalen McClain switched from 8 to 18. So we're going to have some of these guys. Zion Grady's number 9 now. He's not 15. So you're going to have to get used to all of these guys. And then all of that numbers going over the roster this morning when I got in here, I still don't know if there's a Buckeye that is going to look more right in their jersey than Chris Henry in a number 15. Like, nothing is more perfect than that for some reason. It just looks real. The one thing you do have, though, is you have number 10 back at quarterback. You have number 4 back at wide receiver. And you have number 25 in the backfield, although you're not going to have him in there this spring as he rehabs from some shoulder stuff. And you're going to have an offensive line that mostly returns. Of your top 6 from last year, you lose Tegra Shabola, and we know how he was kind of the bane of existence to Ohio State fans on that offensive line. So you don't know how it's going to shake out, but I think you feel pretty good about that group and the experience you have up there. So I think with all of the roster turnover, having those guys we just mentioned is like a warm blanket for you. You still feel really good, and you feel really positive heading into spring.
So we can get into this a little bit later. I too, Rick Bake, if you can watch, look, I too pay attention to the numbers game.
Since I was a kid.
Yeah, me too. Not only who switches, but what freshman gets single digits. So like Legend Bay in 2, that's an attention getter.
Yeah.
That's one of two things. That's either A, he's a dude, or B, that was part of what it took to get him here. That's usually how it works on the number front. Ask Joshua Perry about this, who ended up in 37, and I'm glad he stayed there. But I'm sure that's not what he wanted when he walked in the door. So that's one of those things that I certainly pay attention to is what number is assigned, and then which veterans move on to other ones. In a way, guys, spring football, as clunky as it is, as little sense as it makes, is in a way perfect for a sport that is also clunky and makes very little sense and is in its own way constantly. We currently, the way that spring football, just think about this, folks. We have a spring practice period that does 2 weeks, takes a week off, and then does 2 more weeks. What sense does that make? What sense does that make? About as much sense as about everything else that this sport has chosen to do over the last 100 years. But it is a mess, but it's our mess, and it's a beautiful mess, and I really wouldn't change anything about it. I love all of the quirks that come with college football, in season, and in this case, out of it. As I mentioned, Ryan Day's press conference, his first post-spring press conference will happen at 11 o'clock. We will have it for you live. Ryan Day is inevitably going to answer to a new boss, the fallout of Ted Carter out. What exactly does that mean for the athletic department? Where can we go from here on that side of things? We'll get into some of the number game as well. We'll do all of that coming up next. We're off and running on a Tuesday edition. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The sound of Paul Keels calling a Buckeye game is erotic.
Oh, yes.
Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Low testosterone can be a real problem for many men. It causes poor sleep patterns, decreased energy, low sex drive, and it makes it really hard to stay in shape. And as we all know, a healthy body is very important to our overall health and well-being. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, and if some or all of these symptoms sound like you, we can likely help you be done with low T. We can also help you lose weight, support your metabolism, improve your gains in the gym, and more with our new targeted body composition plans featuring GH peptides, NAD+, GLP-1s, and more. Our low T protocols, applied in conjunction with our body composition plans, will help most men see real improvements, true weight loss, higher energy, improved sleep, stronger workouts, and a renewed sex drive as well. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the same day, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
Thinking about buying your first home? Now, with Third Federal, you can buy your first home and pay no PMI. Hi, I'm Mark Stefanski, Chairman and CEO of Third Federal. Private mortgage insurance, or PMI, can cost thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. And you may not realize PMI doesn't protect you. It only protects the lender in case of default. But at Third Federal, you can buy a home with just 5% down and no PMI. Plus, first-time home buyers get $750 off a closing cost. So if you're thinking about buying your first home, go for it and visit thirdfederal.com.
Even before you find a home, lock in 5.79% APR 5.82% on a 30-year fixed-rate purchase mortgage. Visit thirdfederal.com or call 1-800-3rd-FED today. APR reflects 15% down for $350,000 loan amount. Rate requires automatic payment program and is subject to change. Restrictions apply. See conditions for closing cost coupon at thirdfederal.com/FTHB. Equal housing lender.
Common Man here for Jermaine. Everybody's talking about affordability when buying a car these days, but the truth is, GoJermaine.com has a great selection of affordable inventory. Maybe that tax return's going to hit your mailbox pretty soon. Well, go see my friends because because they have 300 new cars under 30 grand, over 300 used cars under 20 grand, and it's only at GoGermain.com. And along with their $1,000 price promise, no one's going to sell you a car for less. Get started at GoGermain.com.
Why does it matter to members that Aetna was named a Best Medicare Advantage company by U.S. News and World Report? Because they chose a plan that gives them real support, real people, and real care. We show up on calls with members and doctors' offices when needed. We show up with access to convenient care options and coverage that fits everyday life. We don't show up for awards. We show up for you. And showing up for you is how healthier happens together.
In the old days when people lived to be 40, you only had one option for listening to your favorite show. But now, ooh, baby, radio, podcast, the Fan app, and YouTube, just to name a few, live or on demand. You have no excuses. The Fan.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is, fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, commercial properties. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
2 hours ago, Kyle arrived at the bar.
Hey, what's everyone drinking?
30 minutes ago, Kyle got his friends another round of drinks.
Cheers!
5 minutes ago, Kyle decided to drive home drunk. A minute ago, a law enforcement officer pulled up behind Kyle.
Sir, have you been drinking tonight?
A chain of events that began 2 hours ago is about to change Kyle's whole world. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Another beautiful spring-like day today with winds picking up a little bit and partly sunny to mostly cloudy skies and highs in the mid to low 70s. We could see some isolated showers this afternoon, but the better chance will be as we head toward daybreak on Wednesday. We'll see some gusty winds overnight and mild with lows in the 60s. For the Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with the 10 weather impact forecast.
The radio couldn't contain us, so we've taken over YouTube. Catch Morning Juice weekday mornings at 6 by searching 971 The Fan. Do it. If you say something with enough confidence, it must be true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Indeed you are, and we are proudly brought to you and sponsored by our great friends at Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for almost 80 years. Yesterday, second hour of our program, the breaking news hit of Ted Carter out as president of Ohio State. I think in certain instances, for example, the last probably two presidents to resign at Ohio State, talking of Michael Drake and Christina Johnson, I'm not sure either one of those would have been something we would have spent a whole lot of time on a sports talk show. Because neither one of those were incredibly front-facing as it comes to athletics. Ted Carter was. Ted Carter was out in front on all of it. And him and Ross Bjork obviously worked hand in hand and were kind of among the faces of the Big Ten in terms of what's going to happen going forward in college athletics, what's going to happen in the college football playoff, how name, image, and likeness is going to play out. Is there going to be any sort of changes to the transfer portal? But most importantly, it was about what does the future of this conference look like? And he had a big role in that. What does the future of the media rights deals look like? And he had a big role in that. And now that will change. And the thing that I think with the hiring of Ted Carter was a signal from the board that Ohio State was pretty serious about being Ohio State and maximizing that brand. And we used the analogy before the 2024 season that this was Ohio State fighting with two fists forward. It's not coincidental that Carter is hired in January of 24. And he and Ross Bjork had a different attitude about what Ohio State could be from a brand standpoint, about what Ohio State should be from a monetary standpoint, the way the Buckeyes should be represented in the conference. It was different. This was a different tone than the previous two presidents. It was similar probably to Gordon Gee and a little bit his approach, although Gee and Carter have almost nothing in common beyond that. But this is one that's going to be felt. And I am curious where they go from here and if they will hire somebody who wants to go down that path again. This is, I don't know. I'll be candid with you. I don't know if this is an extraordinary amount of presidents or not. But going back to 2002, Karen Holbrook, Gordon Gee, Michael Drake, Christina Johnson, and Ted Carter. 5 presidents since 2002. That seems like a decent amount.
3 since 2020 is not great.
Yeah.
And I think for right now, for Ohio State's board, there's a lot going on. Yeah. Putting it mildly. I know that the chairman of the board yesterday said that they were going to unveil a succession plan later in the week. I don't know if that gives them till next week to put it out there. But it would, I think, be in the best interest of the university to not do a 180 on the next president, where you tend to have those kinds of reactionary moves when it comes to positions like this, where they go heavy into the athletics, heavy front facing, and then they do academic, less front facing. It's like, if you can find that middle ground, would be ideal, because it was the Bobby Bowden quote that you've echoed. It was you who I first heard it from, where the football team's the front porch of the university, and there's it's connected how when the football team is good, when the football team is making national headlines, applications are up. Look at the turnaround from Alabama, Ohio State in the 2000s, where you had a football team that was on the national stage every single month, every single week, and people wanted to be a part of that. And so it's all interconnected. And it felt like Ted Carter really, really, really understood that, and him and Ross Bjork were walking hand in hand, which is what you need for the most successful athletic department if you're going to especially do 36 sports.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's necessary that Ohio State has a Gordon Gee or a Ted Carter type president, where you may not think football and associate the president right away, but you at least knew who it was. But you definitely need one that's ready to work hand in hand, for sure. And there were a couple over the years that it didn't seem like maybe they were working hand in hand, where they were like, we're a university and an academic standard, which they are.
Yeah.
First and foremost. Sure. But you can't do all the things you do on the academic side, I don't believe, at Ohio State without the football program and without athletics. They help tremendously. So I do think whoever the next president is, I don't know if it has to be Ted Carter, where he was kind of associated with it. That's why we're talking about it, as you mentioned, Bo.
Yes.
But it definitely has to be somebody that embraces it.
Yeah. You talk about the academic side of it, and I didn't grow up here. You guys did. But I hear from people who are around my age, who talk about when they were a kid, how easy it was to get into Ohio State University. Now
you just
look at
signed up. You were in.
Right. Now look at it. How hard it is to get in. Ohio State's acceptance rate is between 50, 51, 60% acceptance rate. Well, why do you think that happened in the last 20 years? How much of that falls at the feet of Jim Tressel in 2002? Because you saw that as a kid and you said, that looks fun. I want to be a part of that. And it's easier I was just at Kansas this weekend. David Booth has given $700 million to the Kansas athletic department. If you've seen the 30 for 30, he's the one who bought the Naismith rules, like the actual physical Naismith rules of basketball. He bought them at an auction for $3.5 million. They're on display in the facility. This guy has he's built the football stadium, $700 million. I was reading about him. I'm like, geez, where did this come from? Well, he grew up in Lawrence. Family grew up in Lawrence. He grew up going to Kansas sporting events, and he hit it big in private equity and some stuff, and is worth billions now. But one of the things he truly believed is that the value of athletics on a university was the thing that ties the alumni to the place. So in other words, if you go to Kansas You still, as an alumnus, you still come back because you're going to bring your kids to Fog Allen Fieldhouse. You want to go back and hang out with your buddies and relive a Saturday afternoon at the Fog. Does that sound familiar? You're an Ohio State alumnus. You come back for a football game. Don't schedule a wedding on a Saturday in the fall. I mean, it's all part of it. And so the athletic department absolutely is tied to admissions. It's tied to fundraising. Is this as important as a medical center financially? No, it is not. It is not as important to it as that. But do you get the medical center without the football? That's the question that you have to ask. And that's the question that I think Ohio State's board's going to have to ask as they do this, because while Ted Carter messed up bigly, both professionally and personally, according to the reporting that's out there. Now everybody has it. The Wall Street Journal this morning, everyone's doing the story. It's salacious. It's got all those things. I can't imagine the embarrassment, not only for the university, but for him, most especially for him. His type, I do think, is what they're going to want to stay in that lane of, because it's everything that is happening right now athletically is tied to the rest of it. And we are in an incredibly volatile time athletically in terms of what the future of this looks like. And you better hire somebody who is familiar with the business of college athletics.
I do think it's interesting in all of that, Bo. Mm-hmm. You mentioned Jim Tressel.
I did.
Whose name has come up quite a bit in the past couple of days from all the fans.
And I get it.
The lieutenant governor.
Yeah. I don't know. I certainly think he could do it. I don't know if he would want to do it. Would that be something that...
So maybe not right now.
How old is
for Tressel, considering what is going on with the university from more than just an athletic department standpoint?
He's 73.
73.
Yeah.
He's older than I thought. So
because Ted,
that's probably
Top Gun 66.
Top Gun is 66?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Ted Carter, not the movie.
Yeah, no. Tom Cruise is the same age in Maverick as he was in Top Gun. He somehow drinks vampire blood and doesn't age. Yeah, but I do think that my hunch is that they will want to stay in this avenue because I think it's a critical time for it. And it's one of those things you best not miss on. And you better have somebody. I wonder if you'll lean on. I mean, you think about people you're going to lean on for this. You think about some. I think one thing that's to me is that it's attractive about Ross is he's been at a lot of different places. He was at Ole Miss. He was at Texas A&M. I think you're going to lean on those type of people who have experiences elsewhere to try to find somebody who is aligned with the vision. Because I'll tell you what, this embarrassment, all of it, and the fallout that's going to come from it, whatever that may be, the direction they were heading to me was the right direction. And so we'll see if whoever they hire follows in that direction. But it's a massive hire for the board, obviously, with all that is going on in college athletics. So yesterday was legal tampering in the National Football League. I would say that they just need to change the name to free agency.
Yes.
Because what a bunch of nonsense. A busy, wild day in the National Football League. What the Browns and Bengals did and didn't do, and some of the moves that were made. We'll get into all of it in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Do you suffer from leg pain, leg swelling, varicose veins, or leg ulcers? Dr. Joseph Senta and Dr. Barry Zeta at Ohio Vein and Vascular Polaris, and now at their second location in Reynoldsburg, are pioneers in the vein and vascular field. They can perform minimally invasive procedures that will get you back on track to a pain-free life. Stop living with leg pain and start the process to healthy living with a free healthy leg screening. Go to loveyourveins.com or call 614-426-VEIN. That's 614-426-VEIN or loveyourveins.com.
Steve here from USA Insulation. Let me ask you a question. Do you know why your thermos keeps your coffee hot? Because it's insulated with foam. So let us do the same thing and insulate your home with our premium foam for only $99 a month, interest-free. The cold weather's here. There's nothing better than sitting in a warm, comfortable home with your loved ones and keeping that cold, drafty air outside. So make the call today, 529-2440, 529-2440 or USAinsulation.net.
USA Insulation.
Ah, college. A time to broaden the mind, question, learn, A time to challenge the status quo. And eat a ridiculous amount of pizza, which you can buy with your Huntington Bank debit card with the Ohio State University logo. Huntington Bank is proud to be the official consumer bank of The Ohio State University and the unofficial bank of pizza. Let's go Bucks! Let's get more from money. Switch to Huntington Bank. Welcome.
Fall is a season of change, and Hinderer Motor Company is turning over a new leaf with big savings. This is Justin Hinderer. Right now, any one of our participating locations is paying up to $3,500 over Kelley Blue Book value. That's right. Drive in your current vehicle and leaf with one of ours today. Don't wait. The leaves are falling and so are the prices. At Hinderer Motor Company, we love what moves you.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for almost 80 years. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
What's up? What's up, man? What's up with you?
I'll tell you what's up. The NFL business is up in a big way yesterday. Yesterday was pure chaos. I don't remember one quite like that. Yesterday is what they call legal tampering in the National Football League. The reality is that the illegal tampering superseded the legal tampering by a wide damn margin, and that basically all of this stuff was hashed out at the Combine and in the week that followed in between the Combine and legal tampering, so that as soon as yesterday hit, and we got a little taste of this on our show with the Tua release and a couple other things. I think Malik Willis happened during our show yesterday, but the rest of this stuff went nuts in the afternoon. And the reality is that the NFL has a semantics issue. This is not legal tampering. This is the start of free agency. Now, none of this stuff can be official. I actually think NFL.com does a really good job of this. If you go on their website, you can look at all the free agent tracker. They will source where the information came from. So whether it is from a reporter or whether it's from an agent, they will source it there. But all of this stuff has obviously been worked out in the last 2 weeks. All of this stuff was, most of this work on this, the legwork was probably done at the Combine. And then yesterday it was all released via agents and so forth and was reported on. So let's start with the Browns. They agreed to a 3-year deal with former Chargers left guard Zion Johnson, $49.5. The guaranteed money is $32.4. He's going to make $16.5 a year. That's more than Joel Bitonio has made ever in a single year in his career. He's a 7-time Pro Bowler, a couple of times for All-Pro. So he's going to make that. He was a 17th overall pick by Los Angeles in 2020. Just 26 years old, very durable, plays most of the time. If memory serves, the PFF scores pretty good on run blocking, a little less so in pass blocking is kind of the way that tracks with him on that side of it. The Browns also bolstered their defense. This was a necessary move. They agreed to a 2-year contract with linebacker Quincy Williams, worth up to $17. 29-year-old was with Mike Rutenberg. He was the first linebacker coach in the NFL was Mike Rutenberg, who's now the Browns defensive coordinator. So he comes in. That move was necessary because Devin Bush got away in free agency. 3 years, $30 million for Bush, $21 million guaranteed. They wanted Bush back. That's a number that I'm a little surprised that they couldn't find a way, or maybe he was just looking for a fresh start. I don't know, but he was great last year, and I think that number would have been, my hunch was that number was pretty doable for the Browns. So that one surprised me a little bit that was the number and that he got out the door on that. In Cincinnati, they signed Seahawks linebacker Boye Mafe, 3 years, $20 million a year. They also landed safety Brian Cook. He has, from Houston most recently, a 3-year deal, $40.25. Per Next Gen stats from our good buddy Ben Baby, Brian Cook ranked 4th lowest missed tackle rate among safeties last season. Bengals also need to make sure fewer ball carriers make it to the safeties in 2026. In terms of the two teams we talk most about, I think the one thing that is probably hit home yesterday from a Browns fan perspective was the realities of some of the cap situations that they're dealing with. You can get around some of this stuff, but there's also a time where you have to pay the piper on other things. And I think you got a little taste of that yesterday. They had to improve the interior of their offensive line. The hunch is obviously Wyatt Teller is long gone at this point, and this is not scores, but just common sense. I do wonder that it kind of feels like Joel Bitonio is either retiring or going to play somewhere else next year is kind of the way that it seems to me based on this action. And then the Devin Bush one stings a little bit because he was great last year in that defense, and the defense they're going to run this year is very similar.
Yeah, that's how I read the guard move. And the acquisition of Titus Howard, like those were three pieces that you needed to fill. And you did. I don't put too much into this. We're still more than 24 hours before the new league year. So a lot of this is great. I know there's talk about the Johnson's contract, and you mentioned the money for Bush. Like the Browns could have figured it out, but maybe it was more than that. Like some of that stuff misses me. It's what do the Browns need? What did they do? And they aced that yesterday. And similarly for the Bengals, you need tacklers, and they got a pretty sure one at a position of need. If they could pair him, if they could get Brian Cook and Caleb Downs in the same offseason.
Well, yeah.
Pretty nice. But Boye Mafe as well. Like, you need sure tacklers. You need sure players defensively for Cincinnati. And that was the ask, and that was what was done this week, or at least the first day of the week.
Yeah, I think with the Browns, you knew they were going to go offensive line. They had to. I mean, you only had one signed when then you traded for Howard, so you had two. But you had to go get some guys on that offensive line. The linebacker part of this makes sense. I'm with you, Bo. When I saw 3 years, $30 million, I was like, that doesn't seem that much for Bush. Yeah. Why wouldn't they have tried to? And I'm sure they did try to, but why wouldn't you get him back? And you don't know. Maybe he just thought he had a better chance to win in Chicago and wanted to go there. You never know what a guy's why is. I thought the Bengals, I was kind of surprised that the Bengals seem to be spending as much as they were. I heard somebody yesterday talking about some of the breakdowns in this Brian Cook contract, and they said it's the most Bengals contract ever, where there's just all these little things in there and nitpicking and yada, yada. But, hey, at least they're going out and they're getting pieces to add to that defense, because I think if their offense stays healthy, if Joe Burrow stays healthy, they're going to be just fine. I did think it was kind of weird that they didn't tender Jake Browning, just because he had been there for so long and knew that system and seemed like a pretty decent backup behind Joe. But I thought both Ohio teams did good yesterday, and boy, did we see why the Raiders moved to Vegas.
Well, you also see the private equity impact. Yeah. So you do a little private equity, and then you get the cash. What the Raiders did with private equity is what the rule was put in place for. It's what the Bengals should do. The Bengals should do that. They should sell 10% of the Cincinnati Bengals, and they should get the influx of cash on the valuation that would come with it, and then they could spend $280 million on day one of free agency like the Raiders did. This, by the way, the Linderbaum deal for the Raiders, like if you're the Ravens, do quickly a couple thoughts around the division. If you're the Ravens, massive win, Max Crosby. Massive. But it is certainly, to a certain extent, undermined by the loss of Linderbaum yesterday. Now, we can get into the contract on Linderbaum and why that happened, but from the Raiders' perspective, I get it entirely. Tom Brady's saying, we're drafting a quarterback number one. We're going to put him in the best possible position to succeed. He's not going to have to worry about the guy snapping him the ball or pressure coming right up his face for the beginning of his career. We're going to take care of him in the middle. That's Tom Brady's impact on the Raiders. That's private equity's money's impact on the Raiders. That's exactly what you saw yesterday in free agency.
And I wonder, you mentioned the Linderbaum contract. It is way more than any center has ever got. Creed Humphrey, I think this is $27 million a year. Creed Humphreys was $18 million a year. That's a huge, huge jump. I wonder if we're going to look 50%. We're going to look back at this contract and think of them as, man, those are contracts that reset the market. One of the ones we're looking at for a long time.
Here's why that happened. The NFL in the last couple of years has started to realize that pressure up the middle is as disruptive as pressure around the edge. So you used to pay only tackles and DNs, and they still make the most. But now, if you can create pressure in the quarterback's face, it's almost viewed as just as damaging.
I think it's more.
Yeah, so you're seeing, if they're good, so you're seeing defensive tackles compensated much more richly. You're seeing interior offensive line compensated much more richly. Now, the Linderbaum, he played it perfectly. I mean, perfectly for maximizing, because isn't the thing fully guaranteed?
$60 million of it's guaranteed.
It's pretty good.
That's staggering. No state tax in Vegas either, so he's really going to crush it on that side of things. So I loved what the Raiders did. If I'm a Raiders fan, I love that, man.
Like the AFC West, I mean, the Chiefs got better yesterday, getting Kenneth Walker. The Raiders and all the money that they spend put them in a pretty good position. If they're feeling Fernando Mendoza at one, they think he's the guy. Well, they've got an all-pro center for him to work with on day one. Like, this goes back to, what do you need? All right, pay for it.
Yes. And they can do it because they moved to Vegas and they took the private equity money. This was one of the most cash-poor franchises in the league.
Not
Iconic.
anymore.
But cash poor with Mark Davis. They were not liquid. Now they are.
Do you think
that's how these things happen?
You asked a Raiders fan, all right, you lose Max Crosby, but you get this gigantic haul. Are they making that deal?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yes, they are.
Because you've also got you got 2 first-round picks. You got
all that matters is
1 and 14.
Right. And Reese, all that matters is making sure that Mendoza is in the best possible position to succeed.
This does that.
This does that. Defensive ends don't do that. They don't. No, I would not pay Max Crosby. This was the way to do it. Piecemeal this together, make sure your offense is good, and then you can deal with the defensive side of things when you need to. One of the things that I could read into yesterday to sum up our conversation on the AFC North, Pittsburgh believes that Aaron Rodgers is coming back. I mean, Michael Pittman Jr., Rico Dowdle. I mean, Rodgers has a type at receiver. He likes big body receivers on the outside that he can throw back shoulder fades to. Well, that's what he's got. Mm-hmm. So to me, that is a clear sign that Rodgers is playing one more year in Pittsburgh.
And I don't love Michael Pittman, especially when the Colts were trying to play him as a number 1. But he doesn't have to do that in Pittsburgh, and they didn't give up anything for him. A 6th and a 7th, big deal.
And if what they need is a burner, I'm not in any mood to help them out. But if they get a burner in free agency, and now you've got a couple of running backs, good tight ends, guys on the outside, now you start to see where all of this is coming together. You mentioned the Kansas City Chiefs. There's one other thing that I took from free agency, and I think it could lead to a pretty wild NFL season and a wild next month in the league as more of this stuff starts to shake out. We will get to that. The Jackets lose in overtime. They do get the point. Every point is critical. They got it. They're back in action tonight. We will do that as well. It's coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
Sex, intimacy, love. These 3 things are critical to a good relationship, and that's the problem with erectile dysfunction. It often destroys sexual enjoyment and intimacy. It stresses the love between partners, often to the breaking point. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, and if you're suffering with ED, you likely know exactly what I'm talking about. But I also want you to know that ED doesn't have to impact your relationship anymore. At Tri-State Men's Health, we're ED experts, with our focus on men's sexual health. We've treated tens of thousands of men and have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. I promise you, if you're like most guys, you can get your sex life back, perhaps even performing like you haven't in years. So if ED is affecting you, it's time to get back to better sex, better intimacy, and deeper love. Call us. Just $99 gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com.
Forget the pot of gold. Save some green at Coughlin Ford. During Ford Truck Month, take over $13,000 off MSRP, plus no payments until June on select new F-150s. New Bronco Sport or Ranger. Lease for $399 a month for 48 months. Visit CoughlinFord.com.
Coughlin has the car for you.
Factory rebates to dealer. 90-day deferred payments. Not all buyers will qualify. Bronco $399 down. Ranger $2,000 down. 7,500 miles per year. 25 cents per mile over. Excludes $250 dock fee. $395 disposition fee at lease. No security deposit. Ends 3/31/26.
Working your way through that home projects list, that means more flushes, more showers, more fiddling with the thermostat. Trust the pros at the Waterworks with your plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling needs. Our certified pros can repair or replace your air conditioner or furnace. Clogs? Call the Waterworks. Drain issues? Call the Waterworks. Plumbing problems? Call the Waterworks. HVAC breakdowns? Call the Waterworks. The Waterworks. Trusted and certified plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling experts.
Common Man and Timmy for our friends at Hollywood Casino.
Oh, it's a big month, Common Man.
Why?
Because there's lots of basketball to watch and lots of cash to win.
That's right. If you're watching hoops, you can reserve your spot at HollywoodColumbus.com. And some of the packages come with $300 in dining credits.
And And this month you could win $1 million instantly. Is that your final answer? Plus, there's multiple ways to score big cash prizes weekly.
Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Hey, basketball.
As the old saying goes, size matters.
At Morgan & Morgan, we have over 1,000 lawyers and nearly 6,000 people on staff.
But at the core, this is and always has been a family business.
Our family watching out for your family.
Call us or email us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even on a Saturday or a Sunday.
And if you ever have a problem, call our mom.
Morgan & Morgan.
For the people and your family. Injured? Dial pound law.
Morgan & Morgan, Ohio office located at 600 Vine Street, Cincinnati. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
We at The Fan have created a show where you can be a homer, a hater, or whatever you want to be. Sunday mornings at 8.
It's the Fan Call-In Show, presented by the Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Colin Man here for Jermaine. Everybody's talking about affordability when buying a car these days, but the truth is, GoJermaine.com has a great selection of affordable inventory. Maybe that tax return's going to hit your mailbox pretty soon. Well, go see my friends because they have 300 new cars under 30 grand, over 300 used cars under 20 grand, and it's only at GoJermaine.com. And along with their $1,000 price promise, no one's going to sell you a car for less. Get started at GoJermaine.com.
Do you want free internet forever? Yeah, we thought so. That's why Spectrum is giving you just that. Free fiber-powered internet forever when you switch and get 4 mobile lines from Spectrum. No internet bills, no taxes, no late fees. Just fast fiber-powered internet. Call 833-901-0178 to find out how. But hurry, this deal won't last forever. Once more, 833-901-0178. Or visit spectrum.com/freeforever to learn more.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Patriot Air Comfort Systems and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep your home comfortable. The Fan.
The best hair on the air. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Hey, guys, when it comes to making a big decision like the ring, you don't wing it. That's why I trust my friends at Diamond Seller. For nearly 80 years, their family has helped generations of couples celebrate life's biggest moments with exceptional quality, larger diamonds, and better value. And guys, here's the best part. They walk you through it step by step. You know what you're getting, and you know you're getting it right. Whether you're ready to propose or ready to upgrade, visit Diamond Seller, Sawmill Road, Easton Town Center, or learn more at diamondseller.com. This is something to watch on the NFL. Here's what we know. We know that next year's NFL draft is loaded. Not just with quarterbacks, but with sure things like Jeremiah Smith. We know that. Guess who else knows that? The NFL. And I do think what you saw yesterday in free agency was a sign that there are certain operations in this league that are taking the Rams' kind of blueprint. Blank them picks, essentially. Not absolutely getting rid of all your picks, although the Ravens traded their first-round picks for the first time since they've been the Baltimore Ravens in order to get Max Crosby. They'd never done that before. But what you're seeing is you're seeing teams at the top that believe we're a player away. Let's splurge. Let's go get them right now. Baltimore did that. Kansas City did that. San Francisco did that. The Pittsburgh Steelers, it feels to me like they're kind of doing it a little bit. There are teams who view them, the Buffalo Bills are doing that. The teams that view themselves as true contenders are all in. The counter to that is, I think you will see a certain amount of teams in this league who will really embrace the struggle. And it might be smart to do so. If you are the New York Jets and they are, I can't make sense of Minkah Fitzpatrick and all those other things that happened yesterday for them. I don't understand why you would do all of that, unless that was just, maybe it was just Aaron Glenn saying, hey, man, throw me a bone here. You hired me to coach defense. I got to have some guys here who can get our guys lined up. Because if you're the Jets and you have 5 first-round picks in the next 2 years, you better make dang sure that next year you're picking one of them at number 1 overall. That's your job if you're the Jets and you're trying to really springboard this thing forward. And then you can pick from the quarterbacks, or you can take Jeremiah, and then you don't have to worry about receiver for the next decade plus. Those are the type of things I think you'll see this year. And I think you will see teams. I'm very curious. Like, what's Arizona doing? What are the Cardinals doing?
Gardner Minshew, baby.
Perfect. Perfect, right?
Yeah.
He'll throw it around. He'll throw for 300 yards. stack a bunch of losses.
You trading Marvin Harrison now?
No, I don't think they will. I think that...
Come on. You were supposed to have that done already.
You guys did see Brian Thomas on the market.
I noticed that.
That would be one that, from the Browns' perspective, sign me up. He had some dropsies at the beginning of the season this year, but that's a 1,200-yard receiver as a rookie. You get him for 39 overall? Who says no? I mean, that fast tracks a receiver upgrade very quickly. And if you continue to do this up front where you don't have to draft for that, and then now you get a big-time weapon via trade, now you're on to something. Now you sit there at 6, and you can pick off your board best player at that point. Now all of a sudden Arvell Reese falls. Okay, yeah, we can do that. Caleb Downs falls. Yeah, we'll do that. Let's do that instead. You can pick best player if you can, kind of plug all these holes before you get there. But something to watch. It feels like this could be a year, at least for 1 year, where the middle class of the NFL is very small. So those are the things you're kind of looking for.
And I don't think the NFL loves that because they've never been that. They're built on parity and everybody having a shot. And I don't think they like that.
No, I'm sure they don't, but I think this is going to be a lot like the Andrew Luck draft, where you can see it coming, and you better make sure that you're picking at the top of it. How did the afternoon delight hit yesterday? Jackets 4 o'clock, Kings.
I got to tell you, me personally, I loved it.
That was great.
That was great. Walking out of there at 7:12 last night, it's still light out.
Full
it's
night
nice.
ahead of you.
I could go get some stuff done afterwards. I loved it. And they announced the crowd yesterday at Nationwide at 14.6 or 14.8, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was quite that, but I do think there was probably 12,000 plus in the building. It was not as empty as I thought for a 4 o'clock game.
I think I would have been happy with 10.
Yeah, it was definitely over 10 in there.
That's great. Yeah, that's very great.
But yeah, personally, more 4 o'clock. I mean, Reese and I talked about this earlier in the year, how all of the weekend games, maybe not all of them, but a lot of the weekend games should be like this. 1 in the afternoon, 3 o'clock. I didn't mind this on a Monday.
It gives you time to have dinner afterward, or it gives you time to have an evening afterward. Because a 7 o'clock on a Sunday or a 7 o'clock on a Saturday, that's your night.
So I guess that's just kind of a preference thing. If you were going to make a Blue Jackets game on a Saturday an event, would you rather go to the game first and then have the meal, or have the meal then go to the game?
You're probably going to get more people that would say meal game.
I agree. I think that's probably true. I don't know that it's right.
I mean, if you do it right on a weekend at the right time, you could do a meal before.
And we are clearly on the other side of that argument, but
a little bit of so they get a point.
Again,
another point, but Boston didn't get a point. So what was a 3-point gap for the last wild card is now a 2-point gap in the last wild card. So that's a win. They play tonight at Tampa. The thing that's crazy about hockey is you can play poorly and get results, and you can play great and not get results. And that's the thing that's a little tricky here. One of the things that we've seen here in this stretch of play and is a little bit, and this was a big point of emphasis for Bonus when he got hired, defensively just not where they need to be. Here he is on that.
We're scoring 4 goals. We should be winning games. We give up 5, the back-to-back. That's really disappointing. That's not who we are.
A couple of losses, but points in both. Here's Bonus on that.
Have fun, man. We're in the hunt. We're right there. Believe in these guys. Look, we scored that huge power play goal at the end. I believe in these guys, and we're going to stay in that hunt right till the bitter end.
19 to go. 2 points out.
So, Bo, neither Boston nor New York, the Islanders, played last night. Boston hosts the team that beat you last night in the Los Angeles Kings. So, Panarin, have a game tonight.
Go nuts, kid.
I don't know who's going to be their goalie. I'm guessing it's not Forsberg, but Forsberg was absolutely brilliant in that first period yesterday. The game started off right off the rip with a double minor, high sticking penalty on L.A. The Jackets had so many chances in those first 4 minutes, and Forsberg just stood on his head. He was not great towards the end, but he was really good early, and that kind of changed that game. The Islanders are in St. Louis, and Pittsburgh is in Carolina tonight. So You're rooting for Boston, St. Louis, and Carolina this evening.
It's fun, right?
It's
like
real
paying
fun.
attention to three things. You got your game.
Being part of this is what you love, right?
Yeah.
Knowing that there's a legit chance at a playoff spot. There's an actual playoff push to be had as you get through March. Eric Goodbranson not going to be on this road trip. I could understand why he was mad getting hit by Artemi Panarin like that. Panarin has turned himself into quite the villain. That was something I noticed yesterday. Like, I didn't like you before, but
He's
now
leaning into it.
I really don't like you, bud.
Yeah, and I think that hurts with Goodbranson because he's your biggest, most physical defenseman, but you have a lot of capable defensemen on this team now, so I don't think that's going to hurt them too bad. By the way, Connor Garland, 2 goals yesterday.
Nice. New guy, come on in.
Heck of a nice first 2 games for him.
Yeah, certainly is. So they are at Tampa tonight. And look, all these are massive. And as Bake lined out there, you're paying attention to the rest of the league as well. So this is going to be a fun last 19 games. Stressful, but fun. We hit you with the real truth coming up as we kick off hour 2, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
During this 10-second promo, Rothman will lose money gambling on something.
People like you come here and blow the family nest egg that built this town.
Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Tired of snoring? Dr. Mark Levy can help with a custom mouthpiece that opens your airway and stops the snoring. No mask, no noise. Call 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or visit sleepbettercolumbus.com today. Stop snoring. Sleep better. Live better.
Your mornings are jam-packed. So if you're going to add anything, make it your favorite bite from Tim Hortons. Buy any size beverage and add a daily baked donut for $1, a tasty bagel for $2, or a freshly cracked hot breakfast sandwich for just $3. It's the best way to add more to your morning. The 1-2-3 menu, only at your neighborhood Tim Hortons. At participating U.S. restaurants, must ask for offer in restaurant. Tax extra exclusions and terms apply at timhortons.com/offer-terms.
This is Gordon Miller from Miller Lending, the original home of the no closing cost mortgage. With interest rates at their lowest level in 4 years, what's stopping you from taking advantage? Maybe it's the thousands of dollars in closing cost? Well, what if I told you that those costs aren't required and that you decide whether to sacrifice $15,000 to $20,000 of equity at closing or zero? At Miller Lending, we're all about zero and have been offering no-cost loans since 1987. With no title closing or origination fees, imagine having the freedom to refinance any time a lower rate becomes available or a need arises. Even 0.5% lower in rate results in savings of over $100,000 over the life of your loan. So why wait? No-cost loans are real and here to stay. Simply call Miller Lending and see why thousands of satisfied clients have made that choice to say goodbye to closing costs forever. 877-9-NO-COST. That's 877-9-NO-COST. Or simply apply online at nocostmortgage.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 2502146.
Hey friends, Beamer here, and I just want to let you know our son's about to turn 3 here this week. Baby boy number 2, he could show up any day now. And as you know, I got started on Awaken 180 because I wanted to keep up with the boys, with the babies. Well, it turns out that baby isn't a baby any longer. He has legs and he runs everywhere. Every parent knows this. Kids run their own schedule, so life in our house has gone from busy to really busy, and that's exactly why I'm grateful I started Awaken 180. Chasing a toddler is already a workout. Soon it's going to be 2 little guys who don't slow down. Since losing the weight, I've got more energy. I'm sleeping better. I'm not dragging through the day. I'm more present. And more importantly, I'm more patient. And that matters because this is not about looking different. It's about being active with my boys now and being there for them years from now. Awaken 180 gave me a clear plan, real coaching, and results that last. If you've got a busy season coming up or you're already in one, now's the time to do so. Awaken180weightloss.com. Get started today.
With aging parents, you want to keep an eye on their finances without coming off like you're taking over their lives. With Huntington Bank, you can help protect your loved one's account right from your own. Let's get more from money. Switch to Huntington Bank. Welcome. Eligibility requirements apply. Some features may require enrollment.
For the past 100 years, Shriners Children's has become family to over 1.5 million kids.
In tough times and good times, they're there when we need them most.
Please go online right now to loveshriners.org.
Veterans and active duty service members, when your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
Yo, Harvey, Zoe, group selfie.
Ooh, nice new iPhone 17, Drewski.
Let's do a triangle formation. I'm in front.
With a center stage front camera, everyone fits in the shot.
You got it at T-Mobile.
But switching takes forever.
Not anymore. Now you can switch to T-Mobile in just 15 minutes.
Focus, people. Nail your pose.
And you get a new iPhone 17 on them.
No way.
Yes way.
No way.
Yes way, guys. Switch to T-Mobile and get iPhone 17 on us. And right now, we'll pay off your old phone up to $800.
I'm grabbing my phone and switching to T-Mobile right now.
Get back, Harvey. We're taking a... Let's go again, y'all.
With 24 monthly bill credits, finance agreement, 256 gigabytes, $830, eligible trade-in, example iPhone 13, and new qualifying line, $60 plus per month plan with auto pay plus taxes and fees. For well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. $800 via virtual prepaid card. Card typically takes 15 days after rebate submission, no cash access, and card expires in 6 months. Check out in 15 minutes per line. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Hey, it's T-Bone again. Listen up. Sleep apnea doesn't have to rule your nights. Dr. Mark Levy's been treating snoring and sleep apnea for over 15 years with proven results. And now he has an office in Marysville. Call 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or go to sleepbettercolumbus.com. Stop snoring, sleep better, live better.
Broadcasting live from the McDaniel GM Superstore Studios. Driving excellence since 1916. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. WBNS HD1 Columbus.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. Spring football has begun for Ohio State. Buckeyes will work over the next 6 weeks in preparation for the annual spring game at Ohio Stadium on Saturday, April 18th. OSU's head coach Ryan Day will hold a press conference following practice around 11 a.m. and will carry his comments live on the Fan when he takes the podium. Julian Sain and Kenyatta Jackson will speak after practice on Thursday. Ohio State senior defensive end will wear number 2 this season, as will true freshman running back Legend Bay. In the NHL, the Blue Jackets fell to the LA Kings 5-4 in overtime yesterday at Nationwide. CBJ embarked on a 3-game road trip tonight against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Defenseman Eric Goodbranson will not be available as he suffered a lower body injury in Monday's game. Jackets are at the Panthers on Thursday. This update is sponsored by High Bank Distillery Co. Locally inspired dishes and award-winning cocktails. Visit highbankco.com to make your reservation. Dine, drink, distill at High Bank.
After putting up with Tom Tiberi for a decade, the broadcast gods gave Bo these two. This is Bishop and Friends.
You guys seeing this video out of the first practice, the Chris Henry video? Out of the first spring practice?
I sure did.
He is... I mean, I'm looking at him right now. He looks to be like 2 inches taller than Jeremiah.
Which that tracks, because Jeremiah is what, 6'3"? And I believe Chris Henry is listed as 6'6".
He looks every bit of... I mean, he's whatever... And Jeremiah, pretty good-sized dude. To me, he looks like he's 2 inches taller. I mean, my gosh, Julian, just throw it up, buddy. Let's just high point it.
Someone's down there somewhere.
Just high point it a little bit. I mean, you think about Ennis working underneath all of that. Good grief, he's going to feast.
And this is why, and he's a freshman, and we just don't know.
No.
But this is why you can let Quincy Porter and Mylan Graham go and not give them the money they're asking for, because you have Jeremiah, who is an obvious freak, and you have Chris Henry Jr., who sure seems like he's next up on the freak list.
Yeah, and you know the add-on to that, Bake, is Chris Henry needs to be, because of what you just said. He needs to start opposite Jeremiah. He needs to have a massive freshman year. I mean, he's going to get one of the most targets, I would assume. That's a lot on a true freshman. I mean, we had that on Jeremiah. And that was one of those things where it was abundantly clear, yeah, he can handle it. I mean, this is one spring. Who knows? But he certainly passed the look test.
This isn't fair to do to a freshman, but it's the world we live in. He's got to be Carnell Tate. He's coming in to fill that role.
I think it is fair now. All these guys are compensated.
Yeah.
I have a different view of it now. I wouldn't have done this. You might not have taken some of this tone. Oh, they're just kids. They're freshmen. They're pros. They're pros. They're all compensated richly. The gloves are off, so to speak. Not to say you're going at somebody, but just the attitude of, for the longest time with college players, the attitude was kind of like, oh, they're college kids. Like, cut them some slack, especially when they're young. They're all compensated. These are professional athletes, is what they are. When you're doing football and men's basketball, and at the highest level of some of the other sports, these are professional athletes, and anything else is to categorize them any other way is kind of silly at this point, I would say. All right, let's have a little bit of the real truth. Hit it, guys.
Bishop and Friends present The Real Truth.
Sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for almost 80 years.
This will be the last April for Ohio State's spring game. Is that the real truth?
No, not yet. Not yet, but it is coming. And the only reason I say it's not the real truth, Reese, is because everything that I've seen in the days and weeks and months that over the last year has led me to believe that there is no tangible, real change on the horizon in the way that we play this sport. So until that happens and there's a real conversation about calendar and common sense and all the things that go into it, to me, I'll believe it when I see it. And so, no, I think next year you'll still have the spring will be in April. I think it'll remain how it is. I think there's momentum for the calendar. I think one thing that would be really interesting, because that meeting with Trump, and we'll get into this coming up here in a little bit more in 10 minutes, but I think one of the big takeaways I took from it was, here's all of the things that are wrong. Here's a bunch of people with ideas how to fix it, but nothing real, nothing tangible. So, like, what I would have liked to have done is with the people who actually know what they're talking about on college football, what would be the first thing you'd change? What is the easiest, most important thing that you could change first? What would you want that to be? To me, that's a question that I would like to hear answered by people who are actually in the sport on a day in, day out basis.
I don't believe this is the real truth, and I believe that the spring game is never going away. At least there's going to be some form of something. We saw this, schools try to do this last year. You saw Ohio State try to change it up and say it's going to be a showcase, and you heard the backlash from the fans. But here's the biggest reason, and if the calendar changes, I think you're still going to do something, whether that be in the summer months or still in the spring. And here's why. This is a huge opportunity for you to make NIL money. And we know that they are going to try to get revenue from every avenue they can. So there will always be some kind of form of spring game because they are going to be able to capitalize off of it.
Yeah, 100%. It's just going to be in May. It'll be in May and in early June, where it actually makes sense. It'll be they're just going to follow the NFL model.
It's going to be a late spring game.
Yeah. That's still technically spring. We don't get till summer until what, June 21st, 22nd?
Late.
So, yeah, it's just late spring. But that's what it'll be, and it'll be better. It'll make more sense from a calendar standpoint.
Show me the money.
Yeah.
An Ohio State football player will win the Heisman in 2026. Is that the real truth?
No, because I think they'll poach votes. The two of them will. Sand and Smith will be at the top of the list. I'll tell you what's interesting. My hunch is that Jeremiah Smith has the best chance to win the Heisman for a position player at Ohio State since Ezekiel Elliott in 15, that he's set up like that. And I know that Chase Young was a finalist, and I think J.K. was a finalist once as well. But going into 15, I'm pretty sure Zeke was the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman. And I think Jeremiah, everybody knows he's universally accepted as the best player in the sport. If he has a statistical season to match, it would almost be like, I guess what I'm saying is he doesn't have to have 1,900 yards receiving and 22 touchdowns to win the Heisman. I think if he has 1,500, 15 touchdowns, but is great against Texas, is great against Michigan, it's great against USC, that he could absolutely do it. So I think that he is the best position player chance since Zeke for a Buckeye to win the Heisman.
So I don't think it's the real truth either, Bo, because I think you're going to see the Buckeyes steal, as you mentioned, a lot of votes from each other. By the way, current odds have Jeremiah Smith. Well, actually, Julian's saying it 12-1. Jeremiah Smith 13-1. CJ Carr and Arch Manning are your favorites at 8 and 9-1.
Where's the Carr stuff coming from? You need a good year.
He did have a good year as a freshman. Is the best value, though, for a Buckeye player on the Heisman board Bo Jackson at 100-1, especially in an Arthur Smith offense?
Yes. Yeah. He won't win it, but if you want to take a flyer and some soft earned, yeah, that would be a good one there.
Do some NFL here. 2026 will be Joe Burrow's last year with the Cincinnati Bengals. Is that the real truth?
No, but I do think it's going to be something to track. And I know he's under contract till 2029. I know you're dealing with the Cincinnati Bengals. I've asked Ben Baby about this directly when he's joined us, and he says, no, there's none of that. But there is a frustration that you can feel with Burrow. You guys saw that clip of Jamar Chase playing video games, talking about Max Crosby coming to the Ravens and kind of losing a little bit, and said that Joe texted him about it. We've all seen that stuff. I think that there is a building frustration with Burrow that remember he had that press conference, said the window is my career. Well, you're probably starting to see the mortality of your career. All the injuries, all the rehab back from it. If you're him, I think you're probably, is all of this worth it? Like financially it is. He was playing blackjack with Jessica Alba. That feels like all of that was worth it. Just a kid from Athens living his best possible life. But if there's more injury and so forth, you want to fight to come back for a chance to win something. And the Bengals, my hunch is, won't be anywhere near the favorites to win the AFC next year. So is he looking down the barrel of a career where it was incredible early? He will put up a bunch of stats playing with his buddy, but not be serious contenders for his career. That's a very tough reality, I would assume, for him to look at. And I think that this is something worth monitoring. His attitude, the way he handles this season, if it doesn't go well next offseason, I think a lot's in play.
As of right now, Bo, to your point, the Bengals second to win the AFC North. The Ravens first at -150, the Bengals plus 270. There is no way 2026 is the last year for Joe Burrow and the Bengals. And we've even talked about it. The Bengals have signed everyone on offense, and they're starting to add to their defense. Like, they are doing what they can to put a competitive team around Joe Burrow. Also, and I know this shouldn't always go into your thinking, but if you let Joe Burrow walk or you trade him, the fans are going to revolt. The fans are going to... They're it may be a couple years to get them back on board.
He'd have to pull a Carson Palmer, and he'd have to decide if he was willing to do that.
He'd have to make sure he was the bad guy. And I will say this, Bo, you mentioned Saturday night out in Vegas for Joe, sitting at the UFC fights, hanging out with Jessica Alba. Like, I didn't see any frustration on that man's Saturday night at all.
Can you?
That is winning.
I wonder if athletes, if people like that, like Joe, do you allow yourself, I wonder if there are moments where, even in your mind's eye, as you're sitting there playing blackjack and it's just you and Jessica Alba, are you ever like, how the hell did I get here?
Yes.
I don't think Joe Burrow does. He just,
I think Joe Burrow, especially with Jessica Alba.
Yeah, because of her level of fame, and
and how long she's been super famous.
Yes, she's quite a bit older than him, but when he was a 12-year-old getting Maxim magazine in Athens, and Jessica Alba's on the cover, and you all know how you'd look forward to that back in the day. Like when he's and now all of a sudden he's sitting playing blackjack with him, even though he's Joe Burrow and he's famous, and
I think she's single too.
She is
recently.
Yeah. So,
Bo, she was back in our day, as one show on this fine radio station likes to say, back when I was banging.
Yeah,
she was on the Mount Rushmore.
She was on everybody. I mean, when I said, Jessica Alba Maxim, every single person who's of age went, yep, got it. And that's, I just wonder, I hope he does. I hope even for 2 seconds, and he's like, good Lord, look where I am. My wildest dreams have all come true. Because it's her age, too, that's a part of it.
How about all these younger athletes hooking up with all these older women recently, like Cooper DeJean and Nikki Bella and Puka and Charlotte Flair and Joe and Jessica Alba?
We don't know that they... Now we're TMZ,
I don't know if we know any of that happened. I think they all took pictures together.
I don't know about that.
It happened. Come on.
I didn't know about the other two. I don't even know have a point of reference on those wrestling people, but I damn sure would tell you. I don't know if we're ready to say that Joe hooked up with Jessica.
I'm ready.
We become TMZ here on a Tuesday, kids. I'll tell you what's also salacious is any conversation around the future of college athletics. Greg Sankey, the SEC president, was on with our buddy Paul Feinbaum, had some things to say, but in typical fashion, it left one thing to be desired. We'll get to that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We know everything about you. We know you love the Buckeyes. We know you love the Jackets. We know you're wearing a red shirt. I just freaked the hell out of someone. The Fan.
March Madness means great matchups.
Plant driving right. Lob for Brazil and a two-hand slam. Johnny's can't contain the dribble drive. It is punishing every time as these guards for the Razorbacks continually getting downhill to the promised land.
John Calipari's 10th seed Arkansas squad upset Rick Pitino's 2nd seeded St. John's team in a memorable meeting of the two Hall of Fame coaches. Hear Westwood One's coverage of this year's great NCAA tournament matchups right here.
Replace your wiper blades and save $10 on a pair of Rain-X Latitude wiper blades at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Beam blade technology improves windshield contact for maximum visibility. Our professional parts people will even install your new wiper blades for free. Stop by your O'Reilly Auto Parts store or shop online at O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Common Man here for Jermaine. Everybody's talking about affordability when buying a car these days, but the truth is, GoJermaine.com has a great selection of affordable inventory. Maybe that tax return's going to hit your mailbox pretty soon. Well, go see my friends because they have 300 new cars under 30 grand, over 300 used cars under 20 grand, and it's only at GoJermaine.com. And along with their $1,000 price promise, no one's going to sell you a car for less. Get started at GoJermaine.com.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. If your garage floor has stains, cracks, or even the dreaded bad epoxy job, maybe one you tried to do yourself, maybe one you paid for and it didn't work out, it can make your entire garage look bad. Let's be honest about it. And maybe those botched garage floor coatings that you've had in the past have put you off of ever getting it fixed. Well, my friends, let me tell you, the people at Comer & Cross Concrete Floor Coatings want you to know there is a fix out there. They can make your garage floor gleaming, glistening, look like a new car showroom. You call Comer & Cross at 1-800-NEW-FLOOR, and they will come out with their pros, no subcontractors, and install a gleaming new Comer & Cross garage floor in just one day. Yeah, this floor is guaranteed to never chip, crack, or even show tire lift like epoxy or paint can. Never going to have that problem with Comer & Cross. Call them today, 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. It's that easy. 1-800-NEW-FLOOR, or you go to comercross.com. That's C-O-M-E-R cross.com. Get a new garage floor with Comer & Cross Concrete Floor Coatings today.
Common Man here for Universal Windows Direct. If you've opened that energy bill lately and thought there's got to be a better way, there is. Drafty, outdated windows can drain your wallet month after month, letting warm air escape in the winter, cool air leak out in the summer, and forcing your HVAC system to work overtime. Call my guys at Universal Windows Direct. They'll take care of you. Buy 2 windows, you get 2 free, and there's no limits. Plus, 24 months with no payments and no interest. Call 614-502-5220, universalwindowsdirect.com.
Morning Juice is now on YouTube, weekday mornings starting at 6. If you're a fan of Bobby Carpenter, he's ready to attack and dominate. If you're a fan of Jeff Goodoff, drive directly to a hospital. Seriously, The Fan.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, commercial properties. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
2 hours ago, Kyle arrived at the bar.
Hey, what's everyone drinking?
30 minutes ago, Kyle got his friends another round of drinks.
Cheers.
5 minutes ago, Kyle decided to drive home drunk. A minute ago, a law enforcement officer pulled up behind Kyle.
Sir, have you been drinking tonight?
A chain of events that began 2 hours ago is about to change Kyle's whole world. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Another beautiful spring-like day today with winds picking up a little bit and partly sunny to mostly cloudy skies and highs in the mid to low 70s. We could see some isolated showers this afternoon, but the better chance will be as we head toward daybreak on Wednesday. We'll see some gusty winds overnight and mild with lows in the 60s. For the Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with the 10 Weather Impact Forecast.
Common man, a radio veteran, has a large hemorrhoid. Timmy Hall, a good, clean boy, moonlights as man's hemorrhoid. Common Man and Timmy.
Weekdays at 3.
The Fan. If you love a good pie analogy,
think of the cap as a pie, and once you take out one piece, there's less left for the next guy.
then this is the radio show for you. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Day one of spring football underway at Ohio State. Some of the videos starting to trickle out on social. Dami will join in 10 minutes with his observations. 11 o'clock, top of the hour, Ryan Day's press conference, his first of spring. One thing, and Bake mentioned this earlier, I'm like you, I always look for numbers. So I'm always curious, transfer numbers. I'm curious, guys on the roster, did they upgrade numbers like Kenyatta Jackson going from 97 to 2? I like 97 a little bit as a defensive.
Yeah, I don't know if that's an upgrade.
Yeah, everybody wants a single digit. I don't know if that'll ever change. In youth basketball, it has changed. Like the kids are now, there's a lot of kids wanting like the old school numbers, like 22, 23, 33, 32, 40. You see some of those now. For the longest time, everybody just wanted to wear a single digit. But you are starting to see some of those double digits come back.
And you see that a lot in hockey where you get a lot of 80s and 90s numbers now.
Yeah, I wonder if that is like, do you have to go in to equipment and then the equipment guy is like, yeah, he can wear a 90?
I want to say one of them, was it, I'd have to look now and see, was it Connor McDavid wore 97 because that's the year he was born? And then people see, Connor McDavid's wearing 97 and they want to wear it, and then it just goes from there. Like I remember Rick Nash when he was 61. He had always been 16 his whole life, so
Right.
Derek Brassard wore 16, so he just flipped it.
I think I've asked Nash this, and I think it actually started in juniors, that he went and asked for 16, and the equipment guy made it a 61 for Nash.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's the case.
See, I thought it was Derek Brassard.
It
Or no,
doesn't have
Brassard
anything.
would have been after. I think you're right. There was
It's
someone
not
on his
Brassard.
junior team.
It's somebody junior where they said, and that, I mean, I'm sure same thing happened with Sid with 87. You know, he was the next one since Gretzky. And so you're looking, Lindros was that too, by the way, and he was 88. So all of these pieces matter. The other thing I'm always interested in when it comes to the Ohio State football roster is the freshmen. In terms of the single digits they're in, I love the idea of Chris Henry Jr. in 15, obviously paying homage to his late father. But for us, I mean, my guy is D. Miller's my guy, Uno Cinco. So that it's cool. It's going to be cool to see 15 back in prominent rotation. It was cool when Zeke wore it as well. I love the look of that. I like all the team numbers. I think those look cool. The transfer guys, Earl Little getting 1, McEwen getting number 3, Qua Rousseau is 4. So that's of note, certainly. Some of the new guys I mentioned, Henry, Legend Bay getting number 2. So the single digits.
That perked me up a little bit.
You mentioned Rousseau there, and James Smith, the other Alabama transfer, is going to be number 3. I think that's going to be weird. Those like number 3 in the middle of the defensive line.
Well, you're going to have...
Doesn't seem right.
You're going to have a 2, a 3, a 4, a 12, because Atkinson moved to 12. All on the defensive line.
Yeah, it's going to look weird, I think.
Yeah. Well, didn't Zion Grady, he moved to 9?
Yeah, he switched from 15 to 9.
So the whole defensive line room is kind of single digits, or that tells you that they were, it's not nothing. Legend Bay wearing number 2, it's not nothing. That's a coveted number. And if you're a freshman, it was either promised to get you there, or it was part of the reason you ended up there, or they just think you're really special and they let you have a great number. It can be that too.
Is 2 the greatest number in the history of Ohio State football? I know 45 has a couple prominent ones, but 2, there are so many great 2s over the years.
My gut is yes. I think 4 is probably pretty good too. I think 7's really good. There's a lot of 7s.
Yeah, Teddy Ginn, Joey Galloway.
Yeah. There's some really cool. It's probably 2, though. I mean, it probably is. I guarantee they've sold more 2s than anything else.
I mean, Pryor, J.K., Chris Olave, Mike Doss, Malcolm Jenkins.
Olave I always think of him as a 17, though.
Because that's what he started as.
Right. I know he ended up there. I wish he just would have stayed at 17. Yeah, probably 2. Yeah, Chris Carter, Caleb Downs, Pryor.
Pretty
Malcolm
daggone good
Jenkins.
ones.
Yeah, it's probably 2. More than one. I don't know what to make. My hunch is everything, all of the conversation around the sport is just all talk. We got some sound bites from Sankey. He was on Feinbaum. I listened to all of it. Everybody knows that where we're at now is not sustainable. Everybody knows that they want a national standard. Those things are known. The question is, how do you do it? And nobody really has any good ideas on that. Let's start with Sankey, though, on national standards.
We want to inform the NCAA decision-making. We would like to have national standards, but as there's been more and more fracturing from states that have passed their own laws, you have state government leaders who have made decisions across this country to maybe have policies and laws or not have policies or laws. As we have different courts making different decisions, and you've talked, and there's plenty of opinions about my role in some of these decisions within our own footprint at the state court level. We can't function like that and have national championships.
So the last line, there's a reason I wanted to play that, because what he is essentially setting the table for is we're not all playing by the same rules. And in order for us to all play by the same rules, we all have to have the same, we have to be like-minded in how we govern the sport. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So then, and this is great from Paul, he's a vet, he followed up with, could then you take the SEC out on his own, which is the correct question to ask.
There is great frustration in my league that we've not been able to work collaboratively through some of the challenges or opportunities that we face. There's great frustration that as we go through the economic transition with our student athletes, we haven't better defined the boundaries, the guardrails, and held people to those. And we have a responsibility in that. So I'm not just casting blame. That's part of us solving problems. And I think properly, that's where our focus should be. How do we work with colleagues to solve problems? Can we do that collectively? If there's a point at which we cannot do so, I think the conversation that informs the question that you ask, is there something you do alone? I think that starts to generate more and more interest. But right now, and I think for the medium term, we're certainly focused on how do we keep the opportunities connected in Division I, while still how do we make decisions that are effective for those of us, particularly in the 4 conferences, that being the SEC, the Big Ten, the ACC, and the Big 12.
That's a warning sign. He just said it. Frustration in his league. Do we get it? I mean, we just played 2 bites, and this is, he's, if not he is 1A most important person in the sport. And he basically told you twice, do we need to, if we can get a national standard, do we need to do something on our own? If we can get a national standard, the frustration is growing. And now he did include the Big Ten, ACC, Big 12. But that's the commissioner of the SEC saying, we will look into something drastic. We can't get this done. So I read that as something drastic could be coming.
He also, in another answer, touched on that a little bit, where he kind of said, we have to look at it and find what we want for transfers, what we want for NIL, kind of like we're already talking about what maybe we would want to put in place.
Yep. That's an attention getter, in the words of Buford T. Justice. Dom Tiberi in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Men, we all know how important sex is in a relationship, both for you and your partner. But erectile dysfunction ruins sex, which can often have serious impacts on your relationship as well. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. And if ED is a problem in your life, you understand the impacts it has on you and the one you love. But I'm here to tell you that ED is a treatable condition, and almost without exception, you can have really good sex again. At Tri-State Men's Health, we're experts in treating ED. We've treated tens of thousands of men with protocols that are effective in well over 90% of cases, which means if you're like most guys, good sex will be the norm. You could even last up to an hour or more and bring a level of intimacy for you and your partner that might just astound you both. It's time to have really good sex again, so call us. Just $99 gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 6 offices in the tri-state area to serve you.
Get more from your everyday spending. Open a new Visa Signature from Kemba Financial Credit Union and earn $300 cash back when you spend $3,000 in the first 90 days. That's real money back in your pocket just for using your card on the things you already buy. Don't miss out. Apply at Kemba.org and start earning your $300 cashback bonus. Offer ends 3/31/26. Restrictions apply. Variable rate product. Equal opportunity lender.
Things people don't believe in. Little green aliens. Bigfoot. And that Spectrum TV combines all your favorite streaming apps with live TV at no extra cost. But that one is actually true. You get over $100 worth of streaming apps like HBO Max, Hulu, Paramount Plus, Peacock, AMC Plus, and more, included with live TV at no extra cost. It's only the way TV should be. It's only everything. Learn more at SpectrumTV.com.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Patriot Air Comfort Systems and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep your home comfortable. The Fan.
Bishop and Friends present Tuesdays with Tiberi.
Hey, Commendatore.
How are you?
You like that? Little Polly Walnuts for you? Right out of the gates?
Yeah, there you go. There you go, right there.
I'm trying to brush up on my Italian.
Well,
how you doing?
I would like that very much. I'm doing good. I'm over at the Woody. I was at practice early this morning. We have now been ushered off the field. We got to watch the first 5 periods. Let me tell you what's very important: a roster. 51 new players out there, and there's some athletes.
51, Donnie? Did you say 51? 51 between portal. Between transfer portal and incoming freshmen, that's the count, 51. Isn't that crazy? I know you're very close with Ryan, and I know they had a little, off-the-record get-together last week. I kind of led the show with this while you were observing the first few practices. This is kind of the first true, portal era Buckeye team. We haven't had this really. You get a Caleb Downs here or there, a massive player, but they've always kind of done just kind of high end shopping in the transfer portal and a minimal amount of it. This was a shopping spree, and this was a roster that had to be reinvigorated.
Well, and that's the world we're going to see now. And for right now, that's the world. Who knows? Maybe it'll go back to the way it was if we get some rules. But right now, the way it is, and Ohio State had the formula the year they won the national title. They were an older team with an older quarterback. And we saw who met in the national championship this year, an Indiana team that was, age 25?
Yep.
A Miami team that had a quarterback that had been around forever and had some age on their team, and that's what Ohio State did this year. Everybody was screaming, oh, my God, there's 30 guys in the portal. Well, they brought in 51, and half of them are older guys, and this team got older. Their average age now is almost 23 and a half, 24 years old, and that's what you're looking for, Bo. There's a big, big difference when you have men playing against boys, and that's where the college game is heading right now. As we have said in the past, We already have one professional league. Do we need another one? But that's where we're heading.
That's where we're at this point. I was talking about that. We were talking about Chris Henry. I want to ask you about him because, good grief, he looks like he's 2 inches taller than Jeremiah. But we were talking about, like, normally with an 18-year-old, a true freshman, it's a kid. But, Dom, he's a pro. These guys are pros. I mean, it's a different way of talking about him. It's a different way of talking about the expectations that are placed on him. I don't know if we all signed up for any of this, but this is where we're at.
Yeah, and here's the thing. You talk about a Chris Henry. You talk about a Jeremiah Smith. They're still going to go after those type players, the 5-star, supposedly can't-miss guys. Now, sometimes you miss. We've seen that in the past where they bring in guys that were, Mr. Football and all this stuff, and they don't pan out. But most generally, you can look at a kid like Jeremiah Smith. You can look at a guy like Chris Henry, and we expect to see Chris Henry playing this year on Saturdays as a freshman. It's like Coop said, if a dog bites, he bites as a pup. But I think what you're going to see going forward is that they're not going to be taking the 3- and 4-star guys maybe that they would take and develop over time. I think they're going to allow other schools to develop these guys, and you're going to then take them in the portal. And because you want to be older, I think that's the trend we're seeing right now.
Absolutely. I laid that out after signing day. Like, this will be the last big class, Dom. I think they're going to be between 15 and 18. 5-star, 4 or 5 of those guys. But then other than that, it's going to be Ohioans who bleed scarlet and gray, who they can develop, and who don't demand a big paycheck to sign on the line, which is dotted. It's just a completely different way of building a roster.
And here's the thing that we've got to remember, and this is where they got to figure this out. And Urban Meyer was right when he spoke at that group in Washington that the president put together. NIL was supposed to be guys were going to be able to, use their name, image, and likeness to do endorsements and that type stuff. Well, it's really where basically you're just paying them now. Universities are paying these guys. And here's the deal. They all have agents now. And these agents, from what I understand, are getting anywhere from 20 to 25% of these kids' money. And with that said, these guys want to, they want to make their money. And the only way to make money is to, get the schools to pay them more. And they all have, after, they didn't come here to sit, these 5-star players. But here's the thing they got to remember. Just because you were a great high school player doesn't mean it's going to translate to the college game. And just because you were a great college player, we know it doesn't translate to the NFL. And, just because doesn't mean you deserve the money you're asking for. And if you're a 5-star player, these guys want it. And it's like I said, when Ohio State had 30 guys go into the portal and they said, what's going on, whatever. The bottom line is if Ohio State wanted them, they would still be here. They would not be in the portal. But that's what business is today.
Yeah, and it's the other thing Urban said in that, which is this is capitalism.
Sure.
I mean, that's what this is. Like, you're worth what somebody's willing to pay you. And that goes for coaches, players, strength coaches, everything. So, yeah, I'm not optimistic that there's going to be a quick fix to any of this, and I don't think anything's going to come of much. But in terms of on the field, Arthur Smith, you got your first look at him kind of running his operation a little bit. And look, it's first day, it's 5 periods. You couldn't see a whole lot. But just what did you make of the presence he had on the field? What did you make of did having him there change the way Ryan attacked practice?
Ryan was pretty neat. He was involved with the running game. He was having the backs. He had a garbage can and was like forcing them to either run in or out and was actually working with the kids. But, I watched the coaches all very closely, and they all were like just observing, a lot of observation. They think you think you've got the players. You think, especially with the freshmen, you think, they can come here and play, but you're learning and you're seeing them. This is the first time they've actually seen them do something in an Ohio State uniform. And so there's a lot of observation. There's a lot of teaching. It was a lot of tedious stuff. Here's the way we're going to do this drill. Here's what we're going to do, because for 51 of these guys, it's the first time they've ever done any of the drills, and you got the veterans leading the way, like with the receiver. Jeremiah was the first in every drill. Chris Henry was maybe going like 7th or 8th after, guys like Brandon Ennis and guys that have been around. But that's expected. He's a freshman, but sure. That's what they're doing. They're showing them how they do things here at Ohio State. But Ryan was very engaged, very observant. He was watching the quarterbacks closely, all the quarterbacks out there. Julian Sayin looked like he's bulked up a little bit even more. He looks really good.
I was going to ask you about him because last year he's in a quarterback competition, obviously. This year he's not. It's his job. He was a Heisman finalist, and he's going to be one of the favorites to win it this year. Presumptively will be a first-round pick in next year's NFL draft. I think that's what we all expect. But it's never been about the talent or any of the rest of it. I have no questions about him. Love watching him play. I think he's a great kid. Just from the perspective, though, Dom, of it's one practice, it's 5 periods. Leadership. Last couple of years, it's in spades. I mean, there's all sorts of veteran presence all over the roster. You think of last year with Sonny and Caleb and all these guys who had been around for a long time. When you watched, where did your eyes go in terms of who were the guys leading this morning?
Brandon Ennis, Jeremiah, and I watched Julian. He had an air about him. I mean, you could see that he's not a guy now that is trying to earn the job. He's a guy that knows he has the job. There was a sense of confidence as I watched him. And, I spent some time with him on the Buckeye Cruise, and I thought it'll be interesting to see how he handles the news conference tomorrow. I think he's a guy that, I don't think he was all that comfortable doing interviews and stuff last year, but, he got a lot of attention, obviously, and, he was a Heisman finalist, which is a huge thing. But, I think that he has grown immensely. And like I said, I was with him for 7-8 days on the Buckeye Cruise, and I thought he handled himself very well in that situation. But I saw leadership out there today. I saw a young man that was very confident, and, it was fun watching him do some drills where they had the quarterbacks running today. Mm-hmm. So, I think that's going to be an emphasis with him this year that, we maybe didn't see last year, that if the opportunity presents itself, if no one's open and you see a lane, you're going to take it, you're going to run and take what you can get.
I would just add and get down, Julian. Don't get hit. I don't need to see.
No, don't get hit. Yeah, don't get hit. But I think we can agree that the game has changed, especially at the NFL level, where the quarterback now has to run sometimes.
All right, buddy. We'll get back to the tomfoolery next week. Great information out of you observing the first day of Buckeye spring practice. Thanks for your time, buddy.
All right, brother. Talk to you. See you guys.
There he goes. Little Tuesdays with Tiberi on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Ryan Day's press conference in about 20 minutes. We'll carry it for you live. Thing or not a thing coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
This is the Daily Show with Coach Jake Diebler, brought to you by Encova Insurance. When you look at the last 3 games in the regular season, Jake, what are some of the constants that come to your mind that made things develop the way they did?
I think we're playing high-level basketball on both sides, offensively and defensively. We've seen improvement. Offense has been really good all year, analytically, but we've taken them to new heights, and then we've seen real improvement defensively as we've had our whole group out there.
Okay, we'll have another comment in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the court. That's why Encova Insurance and their local independent agents are prepared for what's next and protect what matters most to you. Whether that's your home, car, business, or family, Encova's got your back with a policy that fits you perfectly. With local independent agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova's playbook is an easy win for your peace of mind. Basketball is full of challenging shots, and life can be too. With Encova, you don't have to do it alone. Your expert agent will guide you and provide insurance solutions so you can confidently manage your risk and count on a financially secure future. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Now, the officials have been talking for quite some time.
All righty, let's see what they have to say.
Upon further review, there is no penalty on the play. However, we have conferred and discovered that Bob, the line judge, has saved a boatload for his kids' college using Ohio's 529 plan. It is tax-free, accepted nationwide. Bob recommends we all go to collegeadvantage.com. First down.
Well, that's not entirely unexpected.
Classic Bob.
At Ohio State, we are the never afraid to innovate teams and the improve people's lives teams. Together, we are the Ohio State University.
Jake, as you end the regular season, get ready for the conference tournament, we can kind of see and tell that Brandon Knoll is making some progress. And without asking any particular specifics, just how good is it to see that young man improving from a health standpoint?
It's been great because he's worked really hard to get himself close to being back. You know, we'll see how he looks in practice. He's going to start progressing on the court more, and that'll be a determining factor on, you know, what this week looks like for him. So, but excited, you know, with his progression.
I remember before the season when you talked about both with he and Tilly coming in, it was intentional to get bigger.
Bigger, stronger, more experienced, all of that. And Brandon, you know, certainly we've missed him, but guys have stepped up in a big way, and we're, you know, hoping to get him back here soon.
It's the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Imagine yourself in a new Toyota, like the best-selling all-hybrid Toyota Camry. Now through March 31st, you can get 4.99 APR financing on any new 26 Camry. Or lease a new well-equipped Camry LE for just $269 a month for 36 months with $36.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS, tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details or go to Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Hey folks, it's Berm here from 97.1 The Fans, Austin and Berm Show. Last week I was on the road visiting a recruit, and I saw one of my old fast food favorites on the side of the road, and was hungry for lunch, and I thought to myself, this place used to just call my name. And I thought, hey, why not stop in and have some? I'm on maintenance right now with Awaken 180, and I'm allowed to eat it. So I pulled in, I ordered the usual, I sat there and unwrapped it in the restaurant, and I was so excited. And then halfway through it, I thought, why am I eating this? And it wasn't even in a guilty way. It was more confusion because it didn't taste like I remembered. It didn't hit like it used to. I wasn't craving it anymore, and I really wasn't excited about it. I just kind of stopped wanting it, and that's when it clicked. Awaken 180 didn't just help me drop 35 pounds. It changed how I look at food. I'm 3 weeks into maintenance, and I haven't put a pound of that 35 back on. And I finally understand what works for me. It's not about I can't. It's about not wanting it the same way anymore. I'm not craving the bad. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for almost 80 years. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
We'll read your emails on the air, but we won't tell you where to send them. Hey, we're not doing all the work for you. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing on a Tuesday. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Billiards Plus. Find your next grill and everything you need for the master griller. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
The Thunder beat the Nuggets 129-126 last night in Oklahoma City. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scored 35 points, including a game-winning three. SGA was asked about that shot post-game.
Yeah, and I had no clue what I was going to do. I have answers to the test, but like I got to see the questions first. So once I seen he was on my left and I was going right, I think it was Christian Braun that was in the gap. So I knew I probably was like if I drove to shoot a midi, it's probably gonna be a contested with two guys. So I tried to separate from the three and get a good comfortable shot, and then went down.
It was SGA's 126th straight game, scoring 20 or more points. That's tied with Wilt Chamberlain for the all-time consecutive 20-point games. SGA also had 15 assists, and the only two players in NBA history to record 35 points, at least 15 assists, and 0 turnovers in a game since 1978, including the playoffs, are Shai Gilgeous-Alexander last night and LeBron James in 2018. Thing or not a thing?
So the statistical accumulation is just insanity. To when it's like you and Wilt, that's pretty crazy. Here's what's also pretty crazy. Nobody thought that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander would be the best player in basketball. Nobody. He was the 11th pick in the draft out of Kentucky. He was not the best player. I'm certain he was not the first Kentucky player taken in that draft in 2018. He was initially drafted by the Charlotte Hornets and then flipped to the Los Angeles Clippers, who then traded him after his rookie year to the Oklahoma City Thunder for Paul George and a bunch of picks. It was Shai and a ton of picks to OKC, which allowed them to build all of these things, and the Clippers are forever paying for it. I would also say, number one, he was a pretty big push-off. He basically shoved Christian Braun out of the way. I mean, just shoved him completely out to get the shot off. He gets away with that quite a bit. I would also say Christian Braun was incredibly kind when he met Beamsy this weekend, so I'm very appreciative of Christian Braun. I'll always root for him. So, but yeah, the push-off was pretty real.
I think this is a thing because, as you mentioned, when you're talking Wilt Chamberlain, you're talking LeBron James, and it's just the two of you in that conversation. That's enormous in the game of basketball. I think it's safe to say, I mean, I don't know, he's the best player in the NBA.
Yeah. I mean, he's won MVPs. They've won championships. Like, it's him and Wemby and Jokic and... I mean, that's the list.
And as you said, this dude was an afterthought for a long time. I think they also, and it's kind of I don't know if it's a cocky answer, but I think we always just think of these guys in sports that they're just so much better physically. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of guys that are this good, they just see sports in a different way. And hearing him talk about that, like, I don't know what I'm going to do, and I saw the defense do this, so I knew I was going to do this. These guys aren't just physically the best players in the world. They're mentally the best players in the world, too, and that's what sets them apart.
Yeah. He was the second. Kevin Knox was the first.
Went to the Knicks with the 9th overall pick.
Yeah. Look at the Cavs there at 8. Colin Sexton.
What a draft that was.
Luka went 3rd. The Atlanta Hawks traded him straight up for Trae Young. DeAndre Ayton and Marvin Bagley the 3rd. My God. If you want to cry, go look at the Sacramento Kings drafts over the last 20 years. Who they drafted and who was drafted right around or right behind where they picked.
We're 30 days out from the Masters. Hello, friends. Defending champ Rory McIlroy has a tell-all coming out through a documentary partnership with Amazon Prime. March 30th, just before the first round at Augusta, Rory McIlroy, the Masters wait, will chronicle McIlroy's heartbreaking history at Augusta while trying to complete the career Grand Slam, and then the tell-all story of the 2025 win. Like most other documentaries in modern times, McIlroy is going to have a significant role in telling his own story. His new production company, Firethorn Productions, will co-produce the film with everyone else. It's the other company. So Firethorn is the 15th hole at Augusta. Thing or not a thing?
Not a thing to me. I don't have an interest in this. I think CBS is putting together something on his final round that's going to air before the Masters coverage begins, and that I might be interested in. I would like a retelling, if he's candid about what in the hell he was thinking on the chip shot. Is it on 13, where he almost gave it all up?
I believe so, because it was 2 holes later. 15 when he hit the miraculous shot that saved it.
Which saved it, but it was pretty much all lost at that point. You just thought, my God, is this guy going to Van de Velde this thing? And he kind of did. So I think that's going to be interesting to me. I am kind of over, people telling their own histories. I'm kind of over it. And I know why you do it, because the winners write the history and you want to shape it in your way. But I thought the Cowboys one was awesome because Jerry showed the warts. A lot of warts. Not all of them, but a lot of them. But a lot of these are really just, here's the way. This isn't the way it happened, it's the way that I remember it, is what a lot of these docs are. And that's not what a documentary should be.
Oh, let me tell you, this is a major thing.
You love this.
I can't wait.
He's your boy.
I mean, there's nothing more that I would want to watch heading into Masters weekend than Rory tell a story about Rory and make Rory be this huge sympathetic figure. And everybody, oh, poor Rory. Look at all the odds I overcame. There's nothing I'd love to watch more.
Rory McIlroy and Jim Harbaugh are in a bar. You have to have a beer with one of them. You're going to Harbaugh, aren't you?
Oh, Harbaugh's way more interesting. I don't know if I like him anymore, but he's way more interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, McElroy's picking up the tab. Harbaugh's having you pick up the tab.
Yeah, you're buying Harbaugh a beer for sure.
Well, I'm buying him chicken wings, making him eat them.
Nervy bird,
scared bird.
Do it. Former Columbus Crew players Derek Jones and Yaya Boa have been banned for life for gambling on MLS matches. Jones and Yeboah were placed on administrative leave back in October, pending a league review of potential rules violations. The 29-year-old Jones most recently played for the Crew, appearing in 23 games across 2024 and 2025. The 28-year-old Yeboah was a teammate of Jones with the Crew before he joined Los Angeles FC. The MLS investigation uncovered extensive gambling by the two over the 2024 and 2025 seasons, including on their own matches. During a match in October of 2024, both players bet on Jones to get a yellow card, according to the investigation, which Jones, in fact, did receive a yellow card. Investigation also said the players most likely shared the inside information with other bettors. The Black and Gold released a statement. The Crew, who strictly adhere to all MLS policies on educating and enforcing sports gambling regulations with team personnel, fully cooperated with the league since first learning about the inquiry regarding the players in question. End quote. Thing or not a thing?
Massive thing. Massive.
Good word choice there.
Yeah, you're welcome. There's going to be more of this. We saw Chauncey Billups hauled away, coach of the Blazers. I mean, there's going to be a lot of this. I think the thing that is incredible to me is how these guys fail an intelligence test. My guess is a lot of this stuff has electronic paper trail. Like, it's just so easy to track this stuff down now. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're going to do this type of stuff, you got to do it no trail at all electronically. You have to go to a bookie, have him you got to do it the old school way. You can't just do it the way that these guys are doing it, and I can't believe they haven't figured that out. There's going to be more of this.
And they're not going to come slap the cuffs on you the first time. They're going to let you hang yourself. Yep. And so you think, oh, I'm getting away with it. No, you're not. And this yellow card was it was pretty bad. Like, there's no way of hiding that, I guess, and all of the bets that they can track. It might be one of the great things that's happened to pro sports because these guys are getting caught. Mm-hmm. When maybe they weren't before. Plus, this just gives me an opportunity to...
Free Place and Ortiz.
Free them from what? Their own choices?
That Tyvus, he's one of a kind.
He really is. Ryan Day at the podium coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If you haven't thought about Buckeye football today, I'm sorry to tell you that you're dead. Our condolences. Your home of the Buckeyes. The Fan.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Tired of snoring? Dr. Mark Levy can help with a custom mouthpiece that opens your airway and stops the snoring. No mask, no noise. Call 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or visit sleepbettercolumbus.com today. Stop snoring. Sleep better. Live better.
This is Gordon Miller from Miller Lending, the original home of the no closing cost mortgage. With interest rates at their lowest level in 4 years, what's stopping you from taking advantage? Maybe it's the thousands of dollars in closing cost? Well, what if I told you that those costs aren't required and that you decide whether to sacrifice $15,000 to $20,000 of equity at closing or zero? At Miller Lending, we're all about zero and have been offering no-cost loans since 1987. With no title closing or origination fees, imagine having the freedom to refinance any time a lower rate becomes available or a need arises. Even 0.5% lower in rate results in savings of over $100,000 over the life of your loan. So why wait? No-cost loans are real and here to stay. Simply call Miller Lending and see why thousands of satisfied clients have made that choice to say goodbye to closing costs forever. 877-9-NO-COST. That's 877-9-NO-COST. Or simply apply online at nocostmortgage.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 250-2146.
A system for every home and every budget at Logan AC and Heat Services. Get a free Trane furnace with the purchase of an air conditioner. And don't forget about our 10-year parts and labor warranty available now. Logan Services.
The Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus is the place to be for all the basketball action. Watch every game at once on 2 video walls spanning 50 feet, plus over 30 TVs. Come show off your jump shot in our King of the Court drawings and take home memorabilia from a Cleveland basketball legend. We've also got unbeatable game day food and drinks all season long. Guarantee your spot. Reserve a table with up to $300 in dining credits at HollywoodColumbus.com. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Get your car ready for spring adventures. This month at your local AAA Tire and Auto Service location, buy 3 select tires and get 1 free. And on the plus side, AAA members save more. Offer ends March 31st. See store for details.
Common Man here for Jermaine. Everybody's talking about affordability when buying a car these days, but the truth is, GoJermaine.com has a great selection of affordable inventory. Maybe that tax return's going to hit your mailbox pretty soon. Well, go see my friends because they have 300 new cars under 30 grand, over 300 used cars under 20 grand, and it's only at GoJermaine.com. And along with their $1,000 price promise, no one's going to sell you a car for less. Get started at GoJermaine.com.
Aetna was there for me as I was going through a rough medical patch this year. I had peace of mind, which helped with my healing.
Those words from a real Aetna Medicare Advantage member speak to why U.S. News & World Report named us a best Medicare Advantage company. Because we show up on calls with members and doctors' offices when requested. We show up with the latest in online tools for easier access to healthcare. We show up for you. Because that's how healthier happens together. Member feedback has been edited for length and clarity.
Common Man and Bob Capace here for Worthington Jewelers. Bobby, it's bridal sale time.
Our annual spring bridal sale is March 10th through the 21st. Buy one and get one 50% off on all bridal jewelry.
And don't miss the weekend trunk shows featuring the latest styles from the top designers. And Bobby, if custom is the choice, you're the man for that.
Absolutely. Let us make the ring of your dreams.
Check out our custom ring builder at worthingtonjewelers.com, where Columbus gets engaged.
Hey, it's T-Bone again. Listen up. Sleep apnea doesn't have to rule your nights. Dr. Mark Levy's been treating snoring and sleep apnea for over 15 years with proven results. And now he has an office in Marysville. Call 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or go to sleepbettercolumbus.com. Stop snoring, sleep better, live better.
Broadcasting live from the McDaniel GM Superstore Studios, driving excellence since 1916. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. WBNS HD1 Columbus.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. Ohio State football has wrapped the first practice of the spring. OSU will work for the next 6 weeks before the annual spring game, Saturday, April 18th. We'll hear from Ryan Day in a few minutes and carry his comments live on the Fan when he hits the podium. Julian Sain and Kenyatta Jackson Jr. will speak after practice on Thursday. Ohio State's senior defensive end will wear number 2 this season, as will true freshman running back Legend Bay. In college hoops, the Big Ten tournament begins tonight in Chicago. Maryland takes on Oregon at 5 o'clock. Winner gets Iowa on Wednesday, and that winner has Ohio State in the third round Thursday at noon. In the NHL, the Blue Jackets embark on a 3-game road trip that starts tonight in Tampa against the Lightning. You could hear it on the Fan with coverage at 6:30. Jackets are 2 points out of the final wildcard spot in the East. This update sponsored by BMI Federal Credit Union, voted best local credit union for the last 8 years by CBUS Top Picks. Visit BMIFCU.org to learn more.
Find us on YouTube. Search WBNS Radio and you can see what Bo looks like. But only if you subscribe. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, we will take Ryan Day at the podium when he gets there. We'll have those comments for you live. First post-spring practice of spring 2026. I was talking to Dami at 10:30, and he had the actual real truth on the number of new faces at 51. We've never had this. Not like this. Not like this. They have always been luxury shopping, right? Back when Saks Fifth Avenue wasn't going to be liquidated all over the country, you'd go in there, you need something very high-end, very something specific. You go into one of those stores that are inside the store and you buy something for your wife or girlfriend, and you go in there and you get help and you get something exactly what you want and you pay a premium for it. That's Caleb Downs. That's Will Howard. That's what they had done previously. This is, we need to make a grocery run. We got to make a Costco run. That's what happened this year. 51 new faces. And not only that, massive depth left. Don made the point, anybody who, if they wanted them to be here, they would still be here. I think most of that's true. There's probably some guys that they would have liked to stick around. I certainly think in that receiver room there were some guys that would have liked to have stuck around. But you have to decide who you're going to pay, and you can't pay all of them. So this spring, you have to instill culture, why we're here, all of the foundation for what the 2026 team is going to be. It's got to be, the groundwork for that has to be laid now. You have to build that foundation right now so that by the time you get to fall camp, now you're talking about putting the finishing touches on it.
And
Week 2 is in Austin.
To your point about paying, for that roster and guys that were in the wide receiver room, I think Baker had the point earlier of, Chris Henry Jr. was enough of a known. I mean, everybody was in on him. Everybody wanted Chris Henry on their football team in 2026, where they felt comfortable at, Mylan Graham, Quincy Porter coming to them and saying, hey, we want this. And like, well, you didn't see the field last year, so we cannot allocate that to you because we've already got it allocated elsewhere. Then they hit the transfer portal, and you've also got to pay Matt Patricia, and you've also got to pay Arthur Smith. So all of that has to factor into what you're doing for 2026. And, I think that the luxury shopping analogy is a good one, but, man, I still think you did a good enough job out of the high school ranks and also supplementing in the transfer portal. Like, the Costco chicken tastes pretty good.
This was both, Reese.
Yeah.
I mean, this was, we're going to go to Saks first, go see my buddy Suzanne, and then we're going to go to Costco. We're going to do it all in the same day. In the old previous portals, you just went to the high-end department store and got the high-end item that you wanted. This year, they had to do that and buoy the rock. And you had to get, our non-negotiables. We got to get some toilet paper. We need some paper towel. If you take the analogy further, we got to get bottled water. We got to get stuff for Buddy Garrity. We got to do all. I mean, this was all of that. We've never had this here, guys. We never had 51 new faces.
And I don't know if you're going to see the true effects of this unless injuries set in and attrition happens. Mm-hmm. Because as we've talked about, you're not going to have 6 wide receivers that could start at every school in the country on your roster anymore. You're going to have 2 or 3, and then everybody else, they're true backups this year. Yeah. It's not going to be the days of, man, Marvin Harrison and Emeka Ibuka are really good, but we've got Olave Wilson and Jackson Smith and Jigba. They can't get on the field. It's not going to be like that anymore. So that's where it's going to be really interesting, especially if you have one position group get hit hard by injuries.
That's why I said what I said about Chris Henry Jr. We're thrilled he's here. In the recruiting process, there were some nervy moments. We all remember around signing day. Did somebody give him a little bit more? Was it Oregon? Was it whoever who was trying to entice him to sign somewhere else for a little bit more? And inevitably, he stuck with his beliefs, and I'm sure Ohio State found some money and made it work. Chris Henry Jr. is 18 years old. He's a professional football player. And you said it earlier, Bake, they need him to be Carnell Tate. He's got to start opposite the best player in America. He's got to be a threat. He's got to grow up in a hurry. I'm talking about just physically. It's one thing to play at Mater Dei, which is a great powerhouse, Southern California football powerhouse. This ain't that. You're going into Austin week 2, and I got to be able to count on you. And that's the job. That's the job now. So he's a great example of that. And he's probably the only one on the roster in terms of new true freshmen that have to be dudes. The rest of them, Legend Bay, you can work him in as it goes. There's other guys you can work in as it goes. You can find a spot. They need Chris Henry to start opposite Jeremiah Smith with Brandon Ennis in the slot. Or you could put one of those guys in the slot and have Ennis outside, and then you have matchup issues there. But they need Chris Henry to be one of the 15 best players on the offense. When we haven't had a lot of that as true freshmen. Jeremiah did it, but there's normally, you mentioned all those receivers, all those guys waited their turn.
Yeah. Tough when you got to compare to Jeremiah because, seeing pictures of him and videos of him out there, he's an action figure. He's an alien. There's a reason why he's one of several reasons why teams are doing what they're doing in the NFL to prepare themselves properly for 2027. Because he'll have that.
Yeah. Well, that goes to what I was talking about of earlier when we were talking about the NFL free agency and all the craziness around that. There's two different types of things that I think are happening. At the very highest end of the sport, there are teams that say, let's go win a Super Bowl right now. I mean, you think about the Rams have done, the 49ers have done, the Bills, the Ravens, the Chiefs. All of those teams at the top are like, okay, we are really close to a Super Bowl. Let's go. And then the teams at the bottom are saying it might not be the worst thing if we just chill. So, yeah, I mean, that's absolutely because they know what's coming in this 2027 draft. And Jeremiah Smith's going to be the first non-quarterback in that draft. Hell, he may go number 1 overall. Who knows how these quarterbacks are going to shake out? A year ago at this time, we were talking about Nussmeier and Klubnik and all of these guys. Now, none of those guys, Aller, none of those guys are first-round picks. Right now, we're talking about Julian and Arch. Who knows what happens over the course of this season? Back to the Ohio State thing, and that's why I was asked Dami about Julian. Physically, he looks bigger, better. He would in a year. More forward-facing. I actually thought he was really great with the media. He was just short. I mean, and sometimes what media wants is you to expand upon your answers. Julian kind of, and we had him on the show. He was great, incredibly polite, all of the things you'd want franchise quarterback at a place like Ohio State to be. But to me, if you ask him a question, you're going to get an 8 to 12 second answer. And that's fine. By the way, I don't need Julian saying to be Will Howard at the mic, talking 45-second minute answers on everything. You don't need that. You need him to run the offense to the best of his ability and to lead this team, because that's the biggest change from last year to this year. Last year's team was Sonny Styles' team and Carnell Tate's team, and certainly probably Caleb Downs, obviously Caleb Downs' team. This team is going to be Julian's team, and it's going to be Jeremiah's team. There are not those leaders returning, especially defensively, the way that there have been the past couple of seasons. The year before that, you had Jack and JT and all of those guys. Denzel Burke, all those guys were born leaders. Who's leading this team? Defensively, who are you going to put the C on? Is Peyton Pierce ready for that? Is he ready for something like that? Those are the conversations that you're going to have to get figured out over the next few weeks in spring practice. Is who are our Follow Us to Freedom guys? Who are the guys that are going to hold guys accountable in practice? That's the big challenge there. We're going to take a quick timeout. On the other side of it, Ryan Day at the podium, Bishop and Friends, right here at The Fan.
We're the girthiest radio station in the history of radio. Uncomfortably girthy. This promo is uncomfortable. The Fan, Ohio's girth destination.
Hey, it's Bo Bishop here. You've heard me talk about High Bank Spirits, but the food is just as good. Brunch worth planning your weekend around. Seasonal dinners perfect for date night or game night. Plus, kids eat half off every Monday. Find menus and locations at highbankco.com. Dine, drink, distill at High Bank.
Want to start testosterone therapy? Go to Low T Center, the area's #1 TRT clinic for effective, custom testosterone covered by insurance. This month, get a free men's T-test and discounts on peptides. Head to lowtcenter.com now and book your free test.
Get Eco.
Hey, Aaron. Hey, Jerry. You know, as much as I enjoy being a professional inventor, a few of my dream inventions still elude me.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
Well, the bruiseless avocado.
Ooh.
The unlosable TV remote.
Could change the world.
And for you, Aaron, the uncloggable drain.
Get Eco.
Until you crack it, Jerry. You know our 93 or free drain clearing offer is the next best thing.
Okay. Explain yourself.
Get Eco.
Our drain team will clear your drain for just $93. If we can't clear it, it's free. And we guarantee it'll stay clear for at least a year, or we will clear it again for free.
Get Eco.
We'll even send our little robot camera down there to make sure you don't have a larger problem that could cause more trouble in the future.
Get Eco.
You think your guys could bring that robot over to my place and help me find that TV remote?
I think that's impossible even for us.
Get Eco.
Eco, plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
GetEco.com.
When we designed our Columbus Blue Jacket ticket plans, we designed them for fans like you. For fans who want to choose their games and their seats. And fans who need flexibility when their plans change. Columbus Blue Jacket season ticket plans. Get your tickets now at BlueJackets.com.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. If your garage floor has stains, cracks, or even the dreaded bad epoxy job, maybe one you tried to do yourself, maybe one you paid for and it didn't work out, it can make your entire garage look bad. Let's be honest about it. And maybe those botched garage floor coatings that you've had in the past have put you off of ever getting it fixed. Well, my friends, let me tell you, the people at Comer & Cross Concrete Floor Coatings want you to know there is a fix out there. They can make your garage floor gleaming, glistening, look like a new car showroom. You call Comer & Cross at 1-800-NEW-FLOOR, and they will come out with their pros, no subcontractors, and install a gleaming new Comer & Cross garage floor in just one day. Yeah, this floor is guaranteed to never chip, crack, or even show tire lift like epoxy or paint can. Never going to have that problem with Comer & Cross. Call them today, 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. It's that easy. 1-800-NEW-FLOOR, or you go to comercross.com. That's C-O-M-E-R cross.com. Get a new garage floor with Comer & Cross Concrete Floor Coatings today.
Join Rothman and Ice every Thursday at 2:30 for Gold Jacket Thursday.
Presented by the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
A new Hall of Famer joins the show every week, but not OJ because he's dead and probably a murderer. The Fan.
Hey folks, it's Austin Ward here. The new weight loss meds are having results, but what happens after you stop taking them? I didn't want to rent my results. I wanted to own them to keep the weight off. I chose the medication-free solution for weight loss, Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
And now, Public Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Jeff Wensing.
March is Women's History Month, and together we are celebrating all the amazing women who have shaped the course of education in the United States and who have shaped our lives in the classroom. When young girls see strong women leading the way, they learn they can become strong leaders too and write their stories in the history books of tomorrow.
Public Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
This is Pause Before You Play, and it's time for more game day picks from local sports fans. You're on the air. Who you got?
Actually, I'm not betting, just chilling and watching the game.
I know that move, a pause. Sounds like you've got a winning strategy.
Exactly. After I set limits and recognized the risk, I knew it was time to stop.
Now that is responsible betting, folks. Sports are fast. Betting shouldn't be. Make a plan at pausebeforeyouplay.org. That's pausebeforeyouplay.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Another beautiful spring-like day today with winds picking up a little bit and partly sunny to mostly cloudy skies and highs in the mid to low 70s. We could see some isolated showers this afternoon, but the better chance will be as we head toward daybreak on Wednesday. We'll see some gusty winds overnight and mild with lows in the 60s. For The Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with the 10 Weather Impact Forecast.
All the Ohio State conversation you can handle. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
Your Ohio State flagship station. The Fan. Connect with the show on X at 971BFS. Jump in our YouTube chat or just send a raven. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Indeed you are, and awaiting news from campus that Ryan Day is approaching the podium, his first post-spring presser of the year. 51 new faces, a bunch of freshmen in the mix. Did get a look at Chris Henry Jr. Sometimes these guys are listed at 6'6", and you go, yeah, no, I mean, he's not. Feels like he's every bit of that. At least 6'5". If Jeremiah is a legit 6'3", I saw him standing next to each other. He's at least 2 inches taller than him. So that's something to pay attention to there. Very curious. I'm always curious about how they start things out. Don't read too much into that, though. You will recall that there was a spring when Will Howard was here where he was like the third or fourth quarterback to go just because he was a new guy. Like, that stuff happens. So don't read too much into that, but pay attention to groupings, like who are people throwing with, who are you covering. Those type of things I think do matter as you start to check this out. But this is a long voyage, and it's a voyage that's going to be interrupted by spring break. And then inevitably we'll conclude with the spring game and the unofficial start of spring in Central Ohio. But I think what I'm curious about from Ryan today in this press conference is there will be a lot of questions, I'm sure, about the newcomers, a lot of questions about Chris Henry Jr., a lot of questions about Arthur Smith and the impact that he had and he's had through the first month or so that he's been here. Those questions are the ones that I'm curious to hear Ryan's answer to. And then just the idea of, do you need name tags? Because we've never had anything like this. A lot of the programs have. Ohio State's been very blessed. They've never had a 51-person setup.
And I did see, I can't remember who it was posted. Maybe it was Spencer Holbrook of Letterman Row. They've got the names, last names on the helmets. So It was like a picture of Turbo Rogers, and in the back on the white part at the bottom, it says Rogers.
I mean, they do that in youth sports because you have to.
I was going to say,
because I don't know how you'd know who these guys are with all the number changes and new faces.
Could you just write the name on the black stripe?
Like in white.
Save you some tape, yeah.
Silver Sharpie?
Still weird,
Sharpie.
And we're a couple of seasons into this, but still weird to me to see the guy that was just in the NFL and Arthur Smith now just roaming Ohio State. That's still wait, isn't he just coordinating the Pittsburgh Steelers last season? And
he's just the head coach of the
Atlanta Falcons. So really, really weird. But you have, faith in the head guy that this is going to work out really, really well.
I don't want to give Adam King credit when I don't have to, so you know that I begrudgingly do this.
Uh-oh.
He did have I kid because I love, sort of. He had a great tweet about, imagine going back 3 years, and he had a video of Matt Patricia talking to Arthur Smith. Imagine going back 4 years and going, 4 years from now, your defensive coordinator is going to be Matt Patricia, your offensive coordinator is going to be Arthur Smith. What?
Trying to think, would it have been a picture of Arthur in Atlanta and then Patricia with Philly?
Well,
because he did that 1 year, I think, or not even a full season, I don't think it was, as just a consultant with the Eagles.
He was a coordinator. He was offense and he went back and was the offensive coordinator for the Patriots. Yeah, he was a senior defensive assistant in 2023 with the Eagles after, a couple of different runs with the Patriots and then the Lions head coaching job in between. But he's been exactly what the doctor ordered. Yeah. And I know the NFL came calling for him like they did a lot of these Buckeye assistants. They were calling for threes. So that's the other thing about, bring this full circle to one of the things we were talking about at the top of the show with the Ted Carter news and kind of everything that came of that. When it comes down to okay, we have to pay these players, we have to pay these recruits, this is just the business of it. How do we do it? Do you have somebody at the top who's greenlighting it? Well, you also have to do the same on the coaching staff. This is what it's going to cost to get Arthur Smith. This is what it's going to cost to retain Matt Patricia. Here's the raise that Threes is going to need. These are the things that. So who's greenlighting all of that? That was the job of Ross Bjork and then inevitably Ted Carter to greenlight all of that stuff. So that's the other part where you can't wait too long, because my guess is that conversation, it's not the football conversation. It's not nearly as big and it's not nearly as important, but you're going to have a men's basketball decisions that are going to have to be made here in the next couple of weeks in terms of who do you pay, who do you go after in the portal, how do you handle all of that? So you have to have somebody at the top who's willing to greenlight all those things. So, yeah, that president position is a pretty big deal as it stands right now at Ohio. It's a big deal always, but the way the athletic departments are now being run, it's an even bigger deal now. So this we are headed for, I do think, and this will be a conversation we have a lot over the next 6 months, I do think we are headed for the great unknown in college football in 2026. And we're coming off of an era of great unknowns. My God, we just saw Miami play Indiana for the national championship.
Just saw Indiana crown national champions.
Just say that out loud, what you and I just said. Just repeat it. The U back, Miami won the national championship. That's college football in 2025, 2026. So when you start having a conversation around, and you can talk about a 12-team playoff, level the playing field, or inevitably getting to 16 and more teams being in it, okay, all of those things contribute. But the big thing that happened was what we witnessed, and we've avoided it for the first couple of years of this, your middle class of your roster is not your middle class anymore. Alabama has suffered from this. Georgia has suffered from this. Those SEC schools poach each other's players left and right. We have avoided up until this year. The depth is gone. The depth that you recruited, the depth that you developed, it's at Notre Dame in the receiver room. It's over there. So this is a brand new day for everybody. And so now you are having to throw something together very, very quickly in terms of a roster. For those of us who are fans, those of us that cover it, root for it, talk about it, we're going to have to get up to speed in a hurry on a lot of these guys. And they're going to come and go before, in many instances, before you're not going to know them. There's a lot of cost to all of this, but one of them is the old thing of, how many guys, since you guys have been doing this, for me, I can think of dozens, that you'd get whispers of, wait do you see this kid go? And then the time would come and they would go. I don't think you're going to see that ever again. I don't know if you'll ever see what's going on with Tavian St. Clair again, where a 5-star quarterback's going to sit for 2 years. I don't think that'll ever happen.
At the same spot. No, he'll transfer.
Yeah.
So many will.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Chris Henry Jr. is probably the next up in terms of what do you see this? What do you see what this looks like? And yeah, it's something that, because when you think about like the first thing when you ask coaches, like, what if you could, what would you want to change about college football? Would you feel like the transfer portal?
Yeah.
I guess we'd have to get a coach on the record with that.
Do we have the coach?
We do. Here he is.
Let's go.
How do you envision Legend Day's role this year?
We'll have to see. Just day one out there. He's starting at running back. He played quarterback in high school, so he has a tremendous skill set, and he's dynamic when the ball's in his hands. We see him as somebody that could play running back and also move out to wide receiver. Sort of like, I wasn't here with Curtis Samuel, but I watched a lot of film when he was here. He kind of reminds me of that style of player. Remember when Xavier Johnson was here, he could play running back or move out to wide receiver. I think we're trying to get a feel for that now because really he played a lot of quarterback in high school, so we're trying to see what best fits him when he gets moving. So today was just a start. You can see him flash, but he's got a lot of football to learn. But it was good to get these guys out here. 51 new faces, so we got a lot of film to watch and get to work on.
Right behind him, Doug Lambrese.
Ryan, looking a little more big picture here because we haven't talked to you in a while. As you look back, your defense was so good last year. Led the nation in fewest points per game. Didn't create as many turnovers, didn't have as many tackles for loss or sacks or that kind of thing. As you just evaluated the defense from last year, did you think yes, that's how we want to play defense? Or is there any part of, we'd like to create maybe a little more havoc defensively?
We spent a lot of time on ball disruption and creating turnovers. I think we would all say we'd like to create more turnovers. It's something that, Matt and our whole defensive staff believes in. And so, there's always a give and take when it comes to how aggressive you want to get to sort of force the action. But there's also just the idea of, punching at the ball and creating PBUs, tip balls, sacking the quarterback, those types of things. So all that comes into play and all part of the discussion. I think with this group, because, we have lost, some pieces from the defense. We'll have to look to see, if our percentages change on how much we pressure or not pressure. But then, you also put yourself at risk of explosive plays the more aggressive you get. So there's a give and take. But I can tell you there's a huge emphasis to create turnovers like there is every year. And, we jumped on it today, and we'll continue to do that.
And right next to him, Bill Landis.
Right. On the offensive line, how much shuffling maybe do you anticipate in the spring to try to figure out what guys can play? Can Phil potentially play guard? Can Ian play guard? Might Austin move between tackle and guard? What do you think that is going to look like?
Yeah, we're trying to get as many reps as we can. Right now, I think there was over 110 guys on the field today. And when you're doing that, that's typically like a preseason practice. So there's going to be times where, we want to get a couple fields going and get as many reps as we can. When that's the case, then we can move some guys and interchangeable pieces, which is something philosophically we felt was always important to be able to do that. You see Josh Padilla can play guard or center. You've seen Carson play multiple positions. But it's something that we want to see if we can get the best five out there. But then 6, 7, and 8 typically have some versatility in there. So, yeah, we want to get Ian, some guard work and some tackle work. Austin will mostly be a tackle, although we've seen him play guard before. Gabe will mostly be a guard. Josh will play some center and some guard. He's probably going to be limited for a decent amount of the spring, but it's a good opportunity to get some young guys in there, get Carter going. We've got a lot of guys in there that are going to be fighting for reps, but there'll be enough to go around. We're going to try to find the right 5 that gives us the best chance to win, and then build depth off of that. So to answer your question, there'll be a lot of interchanging of guys, especially there'll be opportunity. We didn't do it today because we were inside, but we'll quickly go outside and start to get some 2 fields going to get as many reps as we can to evaluate what we have coming out of the spring.
Still tackle and guard too.
Right now he's just tackle, but it's worth a discussion for sure.
In the back on the aisle, Cameron T. Robinson, the Athletic.
Ryan, when you look at, when you evaluated things this offseason and trying to look at what you want to do with an offense coordinator, obviously Bud and Arthur, what do you like so much about having 2 NFL coordinators? And then kind of Obviously Chip was that guy for you, and then you brought in Matt on defense. What do you like so much about having NFL guys in that spot?
Not only that, but former head coaches in the NFL. So when you come with that perspective, it's, we always say, like, you learn so much when you when you take on a new role, and I think the managing of their staffs on their side of the ball is critically important. You're seeing Matt do that now with some of the staff, hires and changes that we're making on his side of the ball. And then, as Arthur's starting to install some of the things that he has done in the past, there's a system in place for it. And, it's not the NFL, but, it's pretty close. The hash marks are different, the guys are a little bit different, but there's a lot of things that carry over here. So that's been good, and it's ultimately, we've talked about this many times, it allows me an opportunity to kind of step away and really dive into everything else and just be more present in the building, with the players, with the staff, certainly with, the NIL stuff in terms of raising money, asking questions, it's a different mindset. Now, that being said, we're going to get in there in the film and figure out what are the things we've done in the past that fit what we're doing, and what are the things that, moving forward, we want to kind of look at and change to build an identity, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to build an identity that carries throughout the entire season. And when you have somebody like Arthur, who's been through it before, he's been through playoff games, he's played the long season in the NFL, you have to kind of build towards the end of the season, and that's the goal here for us, because when you think about the way things are structured now, you've got to be building towards the end of the season. Now, next year with some of the games that we play, you got to start right from the jump on it too, and you got to play throughout the length of the season. And I think it's an opportunity for us to continue to get stronger throughout the season, get challenged in certain areas, so that when it comes time to play in December and January, we're going to be salty because we've been through the fire. And so having some experienced guys like that running the offense and defense is going to be something that we count on to pay dividends in the end.
Fourth row in the middle, Dan Hope, 11 Warriors.
Ryan, just to follow up on that, what did you learn maybe just from last year about, working with Brian Hartline, somebody who was a first-year offensive coordinator, and how much did that kind of give you reason to want to bring in someone like Arthur who had that experience, who could be kind of that head coach of the offense?
Well, every year is a different dynamic. So whether it's the guys on the offense, the guys on the defense, and what you have, and everything comes into play. Recruiting comes into play, dynamics come into play, and so every year we try to do what we can to figure out what went on the year before, or the year before that, and try to project what we need in that moment. And Arthur seemed like the right fit. The other part that was really different for us is when they changed the rule in terms of number of coaches. We now have Cortez coaching the wide receivers, but we also have Arthur as the offense coordinator, so it's a +1 there, and that was a change. And so that's a little bit more like an NFL operation, just in terms of how we structured that. And I got to give Ross and the board credit for allowing us to do that, because that was a whole nother position, and knowing how important that is. And we spent a lot of time talking about development here and how we develop our guys. So if I'm a recruit and I come in and I have Matt Patricia on offense and Arthur Smith Arthur on offense and Matt on defense, I know I'm going to get, coached like an NFL team, like an NFL organization. And if you come and watch practice like a lot of recruits did today, or you guys got a chance to see some of that's an NFL practice right there. So that, guys know that they're going to have an opportunity to develop and be ready to step into these roles. And that's a big part of recruiting nowadays, because it has changed. NIL is a big part of recruiting, but still these guys want to get developed. And for guys who want to look at the long-term goals and where they want to be in 5 to 10 to 20 years down the road, I think it gives us an edge because of our history, what we've done, and the type of people that's in the building. So all of that comes into play when making these hires.
Third row, Spencer Holbrook.
Yeah, Ryan, as you were talking to Matt throughout the offseason and the different options that he had in front of him, what were those conversations like, and how big of a relief was it when he said, yeah, I'm coming back? But then also, he's been here for a year now. How have you seen him maybe settle in? Obviously, he was pretty comfortable with it last year, but settling into the college game, another offseason with him.
Well, when you get around Matt, you quickly learned how important family is to him and relationships are to him. You guys have seen that. And to see his personality come out, to see the side of Matt that we all know has been excellent, and with the staff, with the players. But Ohio State's a great place to be. The city of Columbus is tremendous. It's a great place to have a family. He has a young family, and his family, loves it here. The community has embraced them, which was important. And so everyone's at different points of their careers. When you have a young family, like, that matters. You take all things into consideration. You think about, just, the way things are set up on campus medically, and just, the healthcare, when, all the different things that come in with being at Ohio State. You get a chance to coach some of the best players in the country. You get to be around a program that right now has great people in it. You start to add all these things up. I think he would tell you it's a great place to go to work every day. Does he have options? Yes. Did he have options? Yes. But, I think he found a lot of joy in making an impact on these guys' lives at a different point in their lives than what he was used to in the NFL. And so we were able to work something out to keep him here, and we knew that was important. The guys, really enjoy getting, working with him and learning from him. And then the other part of it is his impact on the staff and some of the younger coaches that are in that room, so that we can continue to build that room and build the strength of the coaching staff on that side of the ball.
Front row, Austin Ward.
Ryan, you've still not had an opportunity of a second-year starting quarterback to come throughout your career. So obviously that's a benefit, but what is the mission for Julian, or what has it been going into the start of spring camp?
Yeah, so really it was Justin and it was CJ, and now Julian's the only other one that I've had, again, going back a long way. So, the one thing that, Arthur, the minute he spent some time with Julian, he just, he's really intelligent. He can process a lot high levels of information. And I think we've shared that before. It's one of the things that jumps out about Jules to me. And so, there's certain areas that now he's got to take the next step. Like we say, level up. I was talking to actually Matt about this the other day. He was explaining how, growing up, we used to have Mario brothers, and, there was, like, you would go through all the different levels, and if you lost, you started back at level 1, and you had to figure out and solve what the problem was to get to the next level. Now, with the video games, you have to level up. You don't really go back to start. We just continue to level up. Well, it's kind of so I tried to hit that with these guys the other day. Like, we all have to level up with our football IQ. So whether it's someone like Aaron Rodgers who's been in the league for decades, or it's, Tavian St. Clair who's in year 2 of the program, or anybody within the program, they have to level up in terms of their football IQ. And the more information you have, the slower the game goes. And so that's a big thing for him, and finding the right things that we can do to help get us into the right play and all the things that come with that. And the other part, as we know, is, just in terms of understanding where the ball comes out, his strength, and as we all know, is that the ball comes out accurately and throwing the football, but making an impact with his legs when appropriate. We know that that's the X factor that has to show up this year, and he's aware of that and been working hard in the offseason.
Front row, Rob Aller.
Yeah, like you said, so many new faces. Not necessarily a concern, but where are you curious in terms of position groups? What do you have your eye on, or individuals within those groups?
Yeah, I think it's a great question, because with 51 new guys, there's a lot of guys to look at and figure out what we have. But the thing that we really tried hard to do is, although it's 51 new guys, there's a lot of experience. So when you talk about Earl Little and James Smith and Quay Russo and these guys have, John Walker, they played football before, so experience-wise, we're actually okay. It's just new within Ohio State, and everything's a little bit different when you come to Ohio State. They'll all tell you that. But yeah, so quickly going through the positions, running back right now, we're missing Isaiah and Bo. So, Jacoby is somebody who's played a little bit of football, but not a ton. You have Turbo, Faber, and Legend. That's a young group right there. So they got to really step up. The first day was a little rough, so we got work to do there. Tight ends is an interesting position because we have Mason and Hunter coming in. Bennett will be out for the spring, and so Nate's really going to have to step up. Max LeBlanc has had a really good offseason. Looking to see how that group can continue to grow and build. Nick's a young guy that has done a nice job in the weight room so far, but it's hard to play as a young tight end. So whether it's 11, 12, we'll have to see and see what we can handle there. At wideout, we're as deep as we've been in a while there. Interesting group because obviously Jeremiah leads the way, but Brandon's right there with them, and then you have Kyle and Devin, who both come in, had really good practices today, just for day one, seeing a couple of veteran guys go out there and make plays, know exactly what they're doing. Pros already, you can just see it. Now we'll see when the pads come on what that looks like. We also have, some other guys pushing in those areas, like Phil Bell and Dez, but then you have the young guys, and they're coming too. So it's fun to watch that they flashed. They didn't quite know what they were doing all day today, but they were working at it. And Chris hit a big post, Quay hit an over, Brock had a couple nice plays. I mean, all those guys have bright futures here, all three of them, in different ways. So it's a deep group. Offensive line is as deep as we've been, just in terms of being able to put guys on the field. Defensive line, there's a lot of new faces in there, whether it's guys who are in the program who haven't played a lot of football or new guys that are transfer guys that come in. So to be determined there. In the back end, deep, certainly missing Caleb and missing IGB is going to be, missing Lorenzo is going to be a big loss. But seeing Terry in there, seeing Earl come in there, Leroy's had a great offseason. Jalen's really done well. Then you have some really good young guys coming up too with Blaine and some of them. Corner, same thing, deeper than we've been. And then a linebacker, having Christian there as a veteran guy with Peyton. Riley would be out for the spring, but TJ's really had a chance to step up. Sincere, Garrett Stover's had a good offseason. So I guess it's a combination of seeing what the new transfers are like within our program, but also seeing some of those younger guys have to step up. Go ahead. Is there one group?
Is there one?
No.
Okay.
No. Maybe in about 5 practices after seeing it all and evaluating it, have a better feel. But I feel like right now, most positions are in decent shape. I would say running back probably right now is my biggest concern. Yeah, I would say. So we'll have to see.
Coach, following up on that, with half the roster being new veteran guys from the forward, how big of a challenge is that? Because this is kind of uncharted water for you guys, and you got 15 practices. The season's coming; it's going to come fast. How important is it to get everybody up to speed, and is that the biggest challenge?
Yeah, I feel like we did a really nice job. Mick Marati and his staff are just, I'm not with everybody across the country. I don't get a chance to see what they do, but if they're better than what Mick does in that room, I tip my hat to him, because I can't imagine there's anybody better. What Mick does in there with his staff is tremendous. And we had a huge champions meeting yesterday, and the growth that these guys made physically was tangible. The work ethic that they showed, but then really brought everybody together. And again, with half the team being new, there's a camaraderie being built right now that's important. And true love and brotherhood is when, your brother makes a play and you're just as happy for him as if you made the play yourself. The guy that I use all the time is Travion. When Quinshon would score a touchdown, he was more happy for Quinshon than he was for his own self. And what happened, that all came back to him in the end. And if we have that same type of mentality into the season, then we'll have a chance. But so much of that happens in the weight room. But I told the guys right here, I said, you only got 14 left. We only got 15 in the spring. So these things go fast. We've got to do a great job on the off days of making the corrections, but also spending time in the building and connecting with the guys on the team. Because to your point, the connection of the team will be important, which we know in today's game is something that is different than what it's been in the past. Usually, you would grow up with these guys in year 3 and year 4, and you've been with them for 2 and 3 and 4, sometimes 5 years. That's not really the case anymore because of the turnover we're seeing, because of the structure of everything. So it is a big challenge, but I really like this team. I like the guys. I like their energy. I like their competitiveness, their seriousness. It's a mature group, but we haven't been together very long, so we got work to do.
Ryan, you mentioned the no longer limits on staff sizes, so you can have 12 position coaches and coordinators. You couldn't years ago. It was limited to 10, but there's still limits on how many guys can actually go on the road.
Yeah.
Recruiting, how are those recruiting rules for guys going to be defined? Do some guys not have to go on the road?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so Arthur just right now would just be somebody that's not designated to go on the road. I know that there is conversation about maybe depending on what part of the season you're in, being able to designate different people within your program. I think that's an interesting concept that I think probably will end up happening somewhere along the line. But as of right now, because of our numbers, he would be non-designated.
Is there anybody else who's not designated?
I think otherwise all the other position coaches are, so they would be part of the 10.
Matt wouldn't.
Matt's on the road. Yep.
Ryan,
All right, there you go. Ryan Day at the podium after the first practice. A couple of things jumped out to me really quick. Number one, Legend Bay starting at running back. That's out of necessity, I think, a little bit too, right? That running back room is completely ravaged. Ryan did say that's his biggest point of contention. The other big thing that jumped out to me, the emphasis on, we coined this years ago, NFLU. He talked about, a lot of the things he talked about, this is my words, not his, very much describing a CEO of the program with his ability to bounce around, NIL, fundraise. That's not something that he was able to do as much last year. So you get two NFL former head coaches as coordinators. That allows you to be able to do that a little bit. He said at one point, the development part of it, I know I'm going to get coached at Ohio State by NFL coaches. So that's part of the salesmanship of NFLU and everything that comes with that. Couple of fun ones. Julian saying new nickname is Jules. There's a lot I can do with that as if someone who loves Pulp Fiction. I can have a lot of fun with that if you want. Lamenting Mario Brothers. When we were kids, once you died, you started at the beginning. Now these kids start right where they left off in most instances, which is nonsense. Another fun one, we have a turbo and a legend in the running back room, which is pretty remarkable. And then finally, Riley Pettijohn out for spring. That's pretty big news there. Those are two new linebackers that need to be locked in. Peyton Pierce feels like he's definitely one of them. That is a big blow for Riley Pettijohn if he's going to try to get on the field in the fall. So those are some of the things that jumped out to me. First press conference of spring is in the books. We get you three things on a Tuesday. Up next, Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
A lot of hosts have been on our airways in the past 30 years. Some good, some bad, some really bad. Anyway, sorry for that. The Fan.
Staples has hot deals and low prices on everything for your business, like up to $125 off your print order. Ends 4/18. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Yo, Harvey, Zoe, group selfie.
Ooh, nice new iPhone 17, Drewski.
Let's do a triangle formation. I'm in front.
With a center stage front camera, everyone fits in the shot.
You got it at T-Mobile.
But switching takes forever.
Not anymore. Now you can switch to T-Mobile in just 15 minutes.
Focus, people. Nail your pose.
And you get a new iPhone 17 on them.
No way.
Yes way.
No way.
Yes way, guys. Switch to T-Mobile and get iPhone 17 on us. And right now, we'll pay off your old phone up to $800.
I'm grabbing my phone and switching to T-Mobile right now.
Get back, Harvey. We're taking a... Let's go again, y'all.
With 24 monthly bill credits, finance agreement, 256 gigabytes, $830, eligible trade-in, example iPhone 13 and new qualifying line, $60 plus per month plan with auto pay plus taxes and fees. For well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. $800 via virtual prepaid card. Card typically takes 15 days after rebate submission, no cash access, and card expires in 6 months. Check out in 15 minutes per line. Visit T-Mobile.com.
At Babs R Us, we believe home improvement is life improvement. As the Midwest's fastest growing 5-star bathroom remodeler, we're more than just transformations. We're a community driven by a mission to bring your dreams to life. Our installation team, part of the Babs R Us community, isn't just skilled. They're dedicated to respecting your home. Each day, they bring craftsmanship and hustle, turning your dream space, no matter the size, into reality. Together, we embrace a culture that values diversity, collaboration, and giving back. From supporting local projects to fostering a workplace where every voice is valued, Babs R Us is more than a company. It's a community of experts. We're also expanding locations to create more possibilities for homeowners across the Midwest. Wherever you are, you'll find us ready to turn your dreams into something you can see, feel, and enjoy every day. Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement, or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel. Plus, low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BAB to schedule your free estimate, or go to babsrus.com. Babs R Us, where dreams soak in.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. If your garage floor has stains, cracks, or even the dreaded bad epoxy job, maybe one you tried to do yourself, maybe one you paid for and it didn't work out, it can make your entire garage look bad. Let's be honest about it. And maybe those botched garage floor coatings that you've had in the past have put you off of ever getting it fixed. Well, my friends, let me tell you, the people at Comer and Cross Concrete Floor Coatings want you to know there is a fix out there. They can make your garage floor gleaming, glistening, look like a new car showroom. You call Comer and Cross at 1-800-NEW-FLOOR, and they will come out with their pros, no subcontractors, and install a gleaming new Comer and Cross garage floor in just 1 day. Yeah, this floor is guaranteed to never chip, crack, or even show tire lift like epoxy or paint can. Never going to have that problem with Comer and Cross. Call them today, 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. It's that easy. 1-800-NEW-FLOOR, or you go to comercross.com. That's COMER cross.com. Get a new garage floor with Comer and Cross concrete floor coatings today.
If only there was a radio show that constantly talked about Ohio State athletics. Well, good news. It's real, baby. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
Proud to be your flagship home of the Buckeyes. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
The madness is on and the deals are going full court at Germain Toyota of Columbus. Drive home the Powerhouse 2026 Tundra at 2.99% APR for up to 72 months and $1,000 Toyota financial cash. That's a slam dunk offer. Or you can drive home in the always reliable 2026 Camry LE for just $269 a month for 36 months, 10,000 miles a year, and $36.99 due at signing. Don't sit on the sidelines. Hustle into Germain Toyota of Columbus on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road or online at germaintoyota.net.
The sports book at Hollywood Casino Columbus is the place to be for all the basketball action. Watch every game at once on 2 video walls spanning 50 feet, plus over 30 TVs. Come show off your jump shot in our King of the Court drawings and take home memorabilia from a Cleveland basketball legend. We've also got unbeatable game day food and drinks all season long. Guarantee your spot. Reserve a table with up to $300 in dining credits at HollywoodColumbus.com. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Common Man here for Germain. Everybody's talking about affordability when buying a car these days, but the truth is, GoGermain.com has a great selection of affordable inventory. Maybe that tax return's going to hit your mailbox pretty soon. Well, go see my friends because they have 300 new cars under 30 grand, over 300 used cars under 20 grand, and it's only at GoGermain.com. And along with their $1,000 price promise, no one's going to sell you a car for less. Get started at GoGermain.com.
Enjoy more ways to save at Kroger, like low prices in every aisle. And you can clip and save more with digital coupons in the Kroger app. Plus, you can earn fuel points to save up to $1 per gallon at the pump. So it's always easy to save big. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Savings may vary by state. Fuel restrictions apply. See site for details.
Right now, save big on USDA Choice Bone and Ribeye Steaks. They're only $9.99 a pound in the value pack with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
The Fan Poll is sponsored by JT's Pizza and Pub, home of award-winning pizza and 32-ounce Yingling drafts for only $4. 10 feet tall and bulletproof isn't just a saying, it's a way of life. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, Reese, what do we have on the poll today?
The Daily Fan Poll sponsored by JT's Pizza and Pub. It asks, did you like the moves your favorite NFL team made on day one of free agency? Your options are yes, no, they didn't make any. 68% say yes, they appreciated the moves their NFL team made. 17% say no, 14% say my team didn't make a move.
There you go. All right, time for 3 things on a Tuesday.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Newman Roofing. For all your roofing, gutter, or siding needs, call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit online at newmanroofing.com.
I've talked about this a great many times, my various trials and mostly tribulations with mass transit travel, specifically air travel. I had no idea until last night how close I was to one of the most ridiculous in a latest line of ridiculous things that have happened. I don't know if you guys saw this. Hours after, exactly 2 hours and 15 minutes after I flew out of Kansas City on Sunday, the Kansas City International Airport was shut down for 3 hours because of an evacuation that was held on a taxiway over a threat on a flight that saw a swarm of police and canine units. Suddenly there was an airport worker saying immediately evacuate. People got up fast and rushed out of there. Roughly 2,000 people were ushered onto the tarmac. Can you guys imagine the retelling of that if I fly out in the afternoon as opposed to the morning out of Kansas City? I mean, I would have probably had to drive. That's what I would have done. As soon as they evacuate, I'm going to rental car and I'm driving home.
That'd have been an all-time start to a Monday show.
Yeah. I mean, we were 2 hours away from it.
First thing out of me, so I don't know if you've heard at this point about the Atlanta Hawks and their Magic City promotion that was supposed to be this coming Monday against the Orlando Magic, but they've got a ton of merchandise that they already had for it. And since they're not doing the promotion, I wonder what are they doing with all that merch? Because there's the hoodies that they were going to sell are black, say Magic City on it, and they got a Georgia peach on one of the sleeves.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, without the context, it's a kind of cool-looking sweatshirt.
For those of you who are looking for the context, and I assume that there are some of you in our audience that have, that was a place for adult dancing.
Wonder if they'll end up in like your local Marshalls or TJ Maxx.
It was going to have music, merchandise, and their iconic lemon pepper wings available. So they buy a bunch of chicken wings. What are they going to do with those? Yeah, the merchandise was pretty cool.
My first thing, I was going to wax poetically about afternoon hockey, but I just saw this news that Hunter Green is going to be out till July. He's having a procedure on his elbow where he's having some bone chips removed. They're saying all of this stems from elbow tightness that was going on at the end of last year. Cincinnati Reds, what did you do all off season?
It's a great question.
I mean, you just think it's magically getting better? Why didn't he go see a specialist then?
Because he probably didn't want to be paid to have surgery and rehab.
And if nothing else, if you know this is going on, let's get him traded. Yeah. Then you don't have to deal with it. Then it's not your problem. Every time I start to get happy about one of my teams, they go and do something like this.
Out 14 to 16 weeks, big. It's a long time.
Forfeit the season.
Speaking of your Cincinnati Reds, I did not realize that Dusty Baker was managing Nicaragua in the World Baseball Classic. This is a 76-year-old man who's had an incredible career, a lot of success in baseball, and it's just a reminder that not everybody wants to retire, especially when you're doing a kids game for your profession. We see this all the time. People think, oh, just retire, go play golf. It gets boring. You need something to do. Good for Bake.
He's just about old enough to be president, I think.
Pretty close.
Second thing out of me, I'm going to read this from the Canton Repository. Be on the lookout, Portage County hikers. A hairy beast, purported to be Bigfoot, is said to be roaming the wilderness in the area. Recent reports in Portage County say the big dude is stomping around near Manaway, a village with a population of roughly 1,000 people located along the Cuyahoga River.
Why not?
Manaway sounds like a town Bigfoot would be.
Manaway. Mantua.
That sounds...
Manaway.
I think that's where Bernie lives. He's got a spread out there.
Ah! Watch out, Bernie.
Yeah, be careful.
Second thing for me, I don't know if any of us have paid attention to the World Baseball Classic, and maybe shame on us, but you do get some cool stories out of it, like Dusty Baker, proud Nicaraguan, and this one, Czechia's Andre Satoria. He pitched against Japan yesterday. He started 4 2/3 innings of scoreless baseball.
Whoa.
When Satoria leaves the World Baseball Classic, he's going to go back to his time as a full-time electrician.
Not if you went 4 2/3 against that lineup.
Well, and it wasn't,
Dodgers are going to sign him.
They didn't start most of their guys yesterday. Japan, there was no Ohtani and no Mashiata did play, but that's pretty impressive. Let me put my snips down. I got to go warm up for this game today.
My guess is he gets a look. No time for 3 today. Rothman and Ice coming up next. We are back tomorrow. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
1, 2, 3. Here at The Fan is always football o'clock. Proud to be your home of the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games.